moody, dreamy ways is teeny. Yes, I told him to get tighter, so he's dreamy when he leave me. I go hard and
Turn off my mic. Hello? Okay, let me see if this works. We all good? Okay. Oh, Jeff Rodriguez is here. That's cool. All right. Let me see if anyone can hear me. Just let me hear in the chat if you guys can please hear me. I'll give that some time. Strange sense of haram. Yeah, that's...
I'm hearing you.
Okay, you can hear me? Great.
Yep.
Okay, great. So, all right, everyone. This is a... I know a lot of you guys had a lot of questions and comments for Spooky himself, so I messaged him and said, hey, do you want to do a live stream? And here he is. First off, can you guys at least hear Spooky well enough? Let me make sure the audio's set up for that properly.
Hey, what up? It's me, Mario.
Good. I can hear you perfectly, but let me make sure everything works perfect for everyone else.
Last thing I want to do is try to listen to myself on this thing. I'm gonna get reverb for days.
Oh no, yeah, don't worry, you don't need to do that. Let me just hear if you guys can hear Spooky well enough. Just keep talking, Spooky. How about that? Let me ask you, for people that don't know anything about you, why don't you go explain yourself?
Oh, I am a hardcore cosplayer. I love making cosplay guns that definitely do not shoot real bullets. And that's been my passion for the past 2 years now.
Well, it's great because, of course, YouTube's terms of services say firearms are bad during live streams. So I'm glad we're doing cosplay after all.
Yeah, we're definitely not showing any real guns in this live stream.
Of course, now
these are all fake. None of them work.
These are just really authentic.
These are meant for your Genshin Impact cosplays that you can.
I believe they use guns. I think the enemies do. I've never actually played Genshin, but I think that's how it works. Well, either way, tell us about yourself.
That's some guns.
About if you were to talk about guns, what would you know? What would you describe yourself as?
Shit. That's I don't think about that one.
Well, don't
so.
Worry.
I've always been a fan of firearms, I guess, just like anybody else. I never knew too much about them, I guess. I kind of went into it with like into buying my first firearms with like a video game knowledge, I guess, which is cringe as hell to say, but really I didn't have any other experience past that. So, my first firearm was a handgun. I got it when I was 21, almost like right after I was 21. I didn't build my first AR until 2018, and that's when I think I saw like a 4chan capture of like a PSA fucking thing. Like, you can build your AR for $400. It's like, damn right I can. Holy shit. So I bought all the parts, had it all shipped, had it shipped lower to the FFL, and I started kind of learning my way through the legal parts of building guns, all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until a year later, after I already had my AR, and then I bought my Evo after that. But then in like 2019 is when I first started.
You first started. You cut out. Oh no. Yeah, you cut out.
You still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
You said
no,
it's my first AR. You cut out.
Sorry, yeah, my fucking connection dropped for a second. I saw it. So yeah, like 2019, end of 2019 is when I first got into printing this kind of stuff, because that's when I actually was first introduced into it. I had no idea it existed until then.
Okay. And so what was your first at least printed gun you built then?
The first one I built was the assembled lowers, the Road Troll lower from the FOSCAD dump that you can get online. That was like the first actual set of files I think that I downloaded from that disk was the FOSCAD dump.
The FOSCAD. So, okay, go ahead.
I know. I saw the first thing was you can actually pull up that guy. The first thing I saw about printed guns was a retweet from Yoshitomo. I don't know how to say his name. Yoshitomo Imura, and he retweeted the Maverick printed pistol. I think it's a printed 22. And I was like, holy shit, that's sick as hell. Where are you guys making these? And then someone commented dead disc, and I was like, what the fuck is that? I had no idea what the hell it stood for. And so I think I tweeted asking what it was, and I did a little searching. I didn't find anything about it. And then someone was like, go to Keybase. So I downloaded Keybase and then I searched for dead disc, and that's how I got in. And then I think I was in the chat kind of just like asking like general questions, really generic questions about what this was, what printing guns, how it worked, and that kind of stuff, like how feasible it was. And then someone posted a picture of the assembled printed lower of the AR. I was like, whoa, you can print that? And that one really caught my eye because it seems stronger than the others just because of
what? You cut out again.
how it looked like Michael closer.
You said, it
Oh,
was very
no,
strong
it's fine.
because, yeah.
Sorry that my connection just dropped. So I thought it was stronger purely because of the added hardware, and it was just based on a general intuition, just like an engineer's intuition. Like, oh, that looks stronger than just printing it a whole as a plastic piece. So that's the one I started with, and I printed that one first, and I actually printed it a lot more conservative than usual, because while I was learning about this stuff, I was also watching videos on the strength of printed materials, this kind of stuff. And there was this very specific video of a guy that was testing one infill configurations, and he was also testing how much infill you really needed to get the maximum strength. And I remember his conclusion was you really only need like 6 perimeters and like 15% infill, and you'll get like optimal strength compared to like 100% totally filled infill.
Well, yeah, that's like the one thing I always hear about. It's either like the don't or just do like 90 or 0% infill, like 99 walls or stuff.
Yeah. That was way back in the day when printing was still kind of getting better. It was still like it was kind of buggy with 100% infill where it would just
still
it
kind of
was
is.
weird. Yeah, so yeah, I know. But so it was always like, oh, do 99% or just do it, make it all walls.
Well, did you see that was it the image of some kid who basically made a 0% infill Glock and then had it shoot on himself? I wonder if that was the case, if he like heard the whole like, oh yeah, just don't do 0%, like just do 0% infill and do 99% walls, and then yeah, they'll be the strongest print you can get. And then he just
Still, I
forgot
don't
to do
even.
the walls.
How the fuck did he shoot his leg from that?
I genuinely have no idea.
That one, I'm trying to wrap my brain around like how the hell those dots connected and that those dominoes all fell and he ended up shooting himself in the leg.
I mean, I gotta wonder myself too. I'm not gonna try that, but hey, if
Because
someone,
we haven't seen a lot of high profile shootings with printed guns or two negligent discharge. That's like the first real one that we've seen where it's like, oh, a fucking stupid idiot teenager shot himself in the leg with a printed Glock.
yeah, like that. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I don't think any Glock file says 0% infill, but hey, I mean, that's something, I guess. I guess, yeah, that's one way to make it blow up in your hands. But
Yeah,
aside,
Raymond in the chat. Why would you assemble it loaded? Like this fucking chat is just like, yep, I always test out my firearms by racking them with live rounds.
well, of course, I mean, you gotta have
Holy shit.
confidence when you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But what what I was, or I mean, that's one of the few things that I've always kind of wondered myself too. Because a lot of people always will ask whether or not, like, what's the proper strength settings? What infill do you want? What type
It's
of
completely dependent on the print. Like it's yeah. Even in my case for my ARs, every part is different. Like you can print the walls of the magazine wall as cheap as you want.
Well, yeah, it's a mag weld, so it's not as much of a like a high stress.
Yeah,
I
the
feel
only thing you really need to print in the magwell that's got to be somewhat strong is the front and rear, because the rear really is the core of the entire AR. It connects all of the pieces together, and then the front has the front takedown. So past that, the two sides can be cheap as hell.
well, yeah. Now I remember you were also mentioning something about, or you were telling me that there was an original or the original like start to the Firebolt.
Yeah. So
I think I have that one. Also,
yeah. So first thing I did, yeah, we can start from the very beginning here. First thing I did was print that, assemble that, bolt together AR as cheap as I could. Right. So I did 6 walls, 15% infill, full send, printed the whole thing, assembled it, and then tested it, and it worked. It shot just fine. I took it out in the woods in the middle of fucking nowhere, let off a couple mags, and was like, "Holy shit, this shit works." And I didn't do any changes to the design at that point. That's the AR9.
Oh, that's the AR9. Oh, right. Yeah.
You want the
Firebolt looking one. Yeah, I got that.
yeah,
Don't worry. Yeah,
the red one.
it'll take a little
The
bit of time
red
for that. Oh, the red one?
Yep.
1 second. I got.
In fact, if you want the first like thing I printed, it's the colorful one, the rainbow looking one.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that one. Let me go. It's taking a little bit longer. I
No worries.
Go ahead. Yeah, explain that one actually.
Yeah. So that is the first lower that I printed. So you can get that in the FastCAD though. It's by Roll Troll. I've never interacted with him ever once. I've looked for his name in other places, but I haven't found him. He's just like a one and done, I guess. But as far as I know on the history of that lower too, it used to be a metal workaround. It was kind of like a workaround to an 80%, but it was just like you bought all the pieces to the AR just like that in a kit, but it was disassembled and you just screwed it together. And that was a way of getting around background checks. But then I think the ATF cracked down on it.
Oh, yeah, because that's always the one
now,
thing I wondered too is what point is this considered a lower for the Firebolt?
dude, I have asked that question multiple times. Just like, hey, which part of this is the gun? Agent Johnson just dumping all the parts on his desk. That would be quite the conversation.
But yeah, so you were saying that thing was basically some sort of like skirt around.
As far as I know, it dates back to like, I think I saw tweets of it and images, like articles that were like from 2013. But it goes back a ways for an easy way to either one, buy a lower, or two, mill it yourself, because it was literally just like a box frame with a couple holes, obviously, where you needed them. It was super, super simple.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I found it interesting. I remember someone mentioned in one of the comments that was, I guess, they didn't have too much of a good experience with it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, but it worked. I had no problems with it. It held together just fine, even with my shit settings. So that was like, oh god, it was like January is when I built that, because I didn't get my printer till December.
And what you did to basically reinforce it more.
Yep. So once I finally was like, hold on a second, because I actually graduated in 2020 in May.
Oh,
And
congratulations!
I was like, thank you. I realized then I was like, I have this SolidWorks program. I'm not doing anything with it, and I can totally use it to work with these files and make them better. And so that's what I did. I started taking. By this point, I should dial back a little bit. I was also messing around with an AR9 print, cosplay print, by the way.
Of course, right.
That I had pulled off of Thingiverse of all places.
Oh, I have that one image. Yeah, this one's beautiful. Yeah, I like it.
Oh my god, yeah, this was great. I was just like, I remember asking the chat when we were back on Keybase, like, hey, is there an AR9 somewhere? Do we have that? Then this guy leaped to me on Thingiverse, is like, what the fuck is this on here?
So I guess probably if anyone asks, it's definitely not there. If you still look for it,
oh god, I bet it's gone.
Like, I can assure you, yeah, Thingiverse doesn't like firearms. Oh wow, I guess I have apparently alerts on that. That's weird. Don't worry. Yeah, keep talking.
Let's see if it's still there.
I highly doubt that it is because
there's a Hellfire one of it on Thingiverse. What the
there's
fuck?
a Hellfire.
Mine's gone. Yeah, the one I got's gone.
Okay, yeah, I believe that.
What the fuck? Someone uploaded a Hellfire read? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, Thingiverse doesn't like that. I know. What was it? Someone was asking for like the Glock files or one of the like original FGC9 Mark One Glock adapter things. Those things are gone. Like those are ripped off because I don't think Thingiverse has a no gun policy.
Yeah. But, so this is actually the first full unibody receiver that I actually printed. I didn't print any of the other lowers. I didn't print the Vanguard when that came out, or any other kinds of stuff for that matter. This was actually the first one that I took on myself to print and test out because I was like, I really want an AR9. That sounds fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And I think I already had an AR-45 that I built that was completely within the realms of the law by that point. But I was like, I kind of want an AR-9 and see how that fares out. So I started printing this one. I printed it upright on the buffer tower, which was a mistake. I did not know at the time. But that's how I printed it because I was like, oh, we need to make sure these threads are good.
Yeah, the layer lines, I guess, wouldn't be ideal in that situation, right?
That's what my thinking was. I was always like, if I print this sideways, how the fuck is it going to print thread sideways and have it good? Because I was always having trouble back when I first started printing the bolt together. I had a lot of trouble with the buffer tower and getting it to thread around the buffer. I had no idea that it was just because of my print settings. I didn't calibrate yet. I wasn't a calibration guru by that point, but I attributed that to the threads needing to be printed upright so that they printed as clean as possible, and so that's why I printed the lower. But I had no idea that it would make it so it failed every single time I shot it.
I mean, when you look at this thing, though, it looks like it's made mostly like an aluminum low. Like those walls or the fire control group are very small. It looks like it just looks not right. Oh, did it cut out?
Firebolt on that buffer side with those arms going around it, but past that, it's really thin everywhere else.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit, so I'm guessing yeah.
For fuck's sake, it's goddamn internet.
Don't worry, it's okay. You live in the woods, I bet.
No, God, no. I live next to the fucking city.
Good
I
old.
wish I lived in the fucking woods, then I could shoot more.
Yeah, no, that would be nice. Trust me, I know the feeling for that. But yeah, you were saying, I think I mentioned it was that the walls are extremely thin. Yeah, you said something.
It really does look like a metal lower just taken into CAD, and they're like, okay, let's just reinforce the buffer a little bit, and then we'll call it good. Yep, that's good.
Yeah, and you said it basically handled a couple of rounds and then broke.
It literally did. It handled like every time I shot it, and I printed like 5 of these fucking things. But it pissed me off every time because they take up so much material. And when I was printing it, it took like 3 days to print it every single time. And I would take it out, get it all assembled, ready to go, shoot it, and then boom, it would break at the buffer tower because it was fucking printed vertically.
Did you ever try doing it horizontally, see if that fixed anything?
I did, and it did fix it. I also tried. Another way that fixed it was printing it with PETG. PETG fixed it as well.
Yeah, I remember. I think I want to say there was like a Truth About Guns article that Ivan might have helped write or something a while back ago, where they mentioned PETG was ideal for AR lowers.
It was. It really is, and it has really good layer adhesion, just because it prints so high and it's so sticky when it's printing and onto the build plate.
Well, the issue I always hear with PETG is that it doesn't break like PLA does, but it kind of
flexes.
It flexes, so it's like you'll get weird. You'll have some weird things I guess fire pin, the trigger pin's kind of moving around and stuff.
Yeah, I never had that. What happened with me though was after I managed to get to work, I ended up racking the slides so much that I figured out the other issue with this lower, which was the front takedowns. They always broke every single time. I don't have a lower of this in my stockpile of firearms I need to destroy, or sorry, cosplay items.
Of course.
I don't have a single one of those that doesn't have broken front takedowns because every single time they broke.
I mean, did you try drilling them a little bit? Maybe try to stretch them out a little bit?
The last thing I did before I completely gave up on the file itself and started moving to Firebolt was I actually drilled 2 perpendicular holes around the front takedown holes, and I ran a zip tie through it, and then I zip tied down the piece so it literally could not break.
Well, that sounds like a very sound idea.
It worked. It fucking worked. I don't know why, but it worked. So
Good job,
I was like,
Bubba.
this is great. It works.
Did a great job there.
Hush is working. That bastard. Crack is not going to run itself.
My Hush is in the chat. I haven't seen it.
No, he's on Twitter.
Well. Either way, yeah. So basically, you had a zip tie holding this thing together, and it worked.
It did. Yep. It was very jerry rigged. It was on par with God, was it Mr. Jamez and his fucking soldering iron solutions to everything?
Hey, I mean, I do a Dremel. A soldering iron isn't too far off from fixing things.
Yeah, right. So yeah, after this is when I started focusing on Firebolt because our community started really growing by that point, and we were getting more people. We were getting more prints. I think the wildfire was a thing by that point. At least it was in beta. I know, in fact, I know it was in beta. But we had the Vanguard for a few months by that point, and I remember looking at the Firebolt files, and I was like, okay, I know what the problems are with printed lowers. At least I know where the two main problems areas are. They're the buffer tower and they're the front takedown. So I know how to reinforce this, and I can reinforce it, and then I can print it, and I can have a better AR print, and then I can distribute it. You know, as like my first kind of like pseudo release, I guess. It was really off the books. It was just like, hey, who wants this? Me. And okay, I'll post it here. And it was like on library, I think. Went back when Odyssey was library.
Right, yeah, that so yeah, at this point now we're moving back to that whatever that like lower or the pre-firebolt like
Yeah,
Foscat
the
thing.
bolt together. This like the very like Firebolt like 0.1 basically.
Yeah. The weird
So
like the rainbow looking one that you sent me.
yeah, it wasn't even a Firebolt at that point. We didn't get that name until later. It was one of the members of the chat came up with a name because they combined the wildfire with the bolt together, so they called it Firebolt.
Oh. I guess is that how
Yeah,
that came?
because
Okay.
yep, that's how it came. Because they're like, oh yeah, the wildfire, that's a bolt together, and then so, but then they also liked that this was actual bolts holding it together, so they called it Firebolt.
Huh. And then
The more you
Thunderbolt?
know. Thunderbolt was just, hey, this shoots big bullet.
Okay, it makes a louder sound like thunder.
Yeah, a louder sound. There you go.
Okay,
Real
well,
big brain.
I can understand your naming scheme then. But okay, so you basically said I'm going to start reinforcing this. I'm going to basically start making this. I guess you started with the buffer tower area. Was that or what parts of this didn't need to be changed that much?
So I didn't change the sides. I didn't change the grip, and I didn't change the front of the magwell. I didn't change the center either. The magwell rear, the core of the piece. I didn't change that at all. So I only changed the magwell sides and made them a little bit thicker. It's actually a tapered thickness because I was all about back in those days. I was all about saving material because I was on a college budget.
I
And so I was
understand
like,
that.
I don't need to make the whole thing. I don't need to make the whole magwell bigger. I just need to make it tapered up and bigger up where it needs to be. So I made a tapered side. You can actually see that picture that I sent you, viewed from the top, looking down the magwell or looking down the FCG well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that to not destroy the stream. OBS is fun in that regard.
Spooky's been lacking on the retweets lately. Dude, I haven't been seeing anything on the retweets. There's been no quality going through
That
my
is hurtful.
timeline.
That is hurtful
I
for me.
know it's horrible.
But so there was no, or I guess it wasn't helping for, I guess like mag drop or anything. It was just because you were trying to save space for the.
Literally, everything I was doing back in these days was just, hey, how do I save material so I'm not busting out my wallet every other day to get more material to my house.
I mean,
So I
PLA
was
isn't that
like,
even expensive either, though.
no, it's not. But I was just like being super conservative with my prints at that point. So the first thing I changed when you pull that picture up is I made the buffer tower arms wider. Obviously, this is just more material and more material for it to hold on to, make it a little bit stronger. And then I made the front takedown more reinforced. And then I released it. I put it out there. I was like, hey, here's a little bit stronger lower. Oh Jesus, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Getting
it's.
a really good view of my carpet and my dog's hair.
Don't worry, yeah, it's a nice carpet though.
Not anymore. There's a lot of soldering iron, a lot of soldering iron scarring on it.
It's all good. Don't worry. But I see what you mean by. I didn't actually know there was. I thought there was more of a reason behind that. I guess it was. I mean, I guess it does save more material then.
It really, that was it. I was just like, I don't want to make the whole thing bigger. So yeah.
So,
So that's what I did. And then sometime in like August, I want to say, maybe a little before that, but I was like, I was in chat late one night and I was talking with some people and they were like, hey, what if we incorporated the U-bolt into this, right? And I was like, hey, we could do that. That wouldn't be too hard. So I booted up the Vanguard's model and I started taking some measurements, and then I started chipping away at the model of the Firebolt. Now, keep in mind, I had to actually edit 4 parts actually of this assembly because all of them were intertwined. So the grip part, the size of the mag well, not the mag well, the FCG well, and the buffer tower, all of it had to be changed, and they all had to be changed in tandem. So it was a little tricky, but actually made it work. And you can see it in that last photo of that red lower with the shitty safety.
Oh, is it the one that's let me see. Is it the one that you sent
Oh,
that's
with
it's
the
like
magazine in it.
oh, okay, yeah. Let me give me a second.
Yeah,
I got that one
with the
too.
ETS fucking tactical magazine.
Hey, those are cheap. Okay, that's the
They are
one.
cheap.
That's the one benefit of those ETS mags. Don't worry, guys. I'll have that in a second.
Oh my god, I have the most horrific story for those fucking mags. But anyway, so that I got it to work, and I printed it and pulled it together. I was like, holy shit, we got a fucking U-bolt. We got a U-bolt bolt together AR. What are we gonna call this thing? And then someone mentioned like I told you, the Firebolt name. And so that's when I think that's exactly when we opened the beta on it, is right at that moment. So right after I got the Firebolt files all done, and I think as after I tested it too. Obviously, want to make sure it didn't fall apart, but I was super confident in it.
And there's the one. I remember you also mentioned to me a little bit beforehand. You were saying something about how around this time too, like that was also like when the Hellfire was too on in beta as well, right?
Yeah, this is when the Wildfire was in beta. Yeah.
The
So
yeah.
we both this is what we both had our betas going at the same time.
So yeah, there pretty much none of like the Hellfire or I guess was it the Wildfire beforehand or was it
It was Wildfire. He didn't do Hellfire until the next year. Like
okay?
early this year is when he did Hellfire.
So wait, was the Wildfire much different? I never even knew
Nope,
that
not
about that.
it was basically what I did with Firebolt 2.0. He just updated the model to fix places where it was failing, and with his lower, it was obviously the buffer tower. I even told him way back in the early days, when we were doing our betas, I was like, you should build this buffer tower stronger. It's gonna break. I'm just letting you know, because he had a super um almost 1-to-1 buffer tower with his print that was still 3D printed. Granted, it was assembled, but it was still assembled with 3D printed parts. And so I remember taking his model one day and just kind of fucking around with the buffer tower, making it a little bit bigger, but I never went anything past that. I remember he asked me a couple times about how to reinforce, and I was like, you just got to make it wider and bigger. But I don't know if he did anything with it. It wasn't until Hellfire that he added that shaft that goes along the left side
Yeah, the little like
to
I don't.
brace it with the rest of the frame.
I mean, I think also doesn't he like even include his own like tooling? Like you can print the tooling and everything as well.
Everything you keep with him is printed, yeah. So
I
it's
mean,
a really cool lower. I really like when it was art time back then in the betas. It was always his is the strongest 3D printed lower, and when mine actually released, it was basically the strongest lower you could make. But obviously needed added hardware.
well, yeah,
So
your hundreds of M3 screws were.
hey, hey, hey.
You're right. Yeah, RK Spookyware needs
We
needs to
don't
make a
talk
living
about
somehow.
our M3 screw factory in Cambodia, okay?
All right, someone's got to live. I understand. Okay, you might run a logistics company on the side. Who knows? But all or I just found that kind of interesting, just because those are like, or most people. I think the Hellfire is pretty common as well too. That one's, I guess, kind of because
That
that
one
was.
got a lot more notoriety. In fact, we saw that one during what was it? I think it was the Virginia protests
Oh right, I know
when
the one
they
you're talking
during
about.
the Boogaloo season when they were doing that shit.
Yeah, the Summer of Love. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and I remember people, and one guy, there was actually a really popular video going around that got a shitload of attention, and it was a Wildfire, no, it was a Hellfire lower print that someone was showing off.
And I mean, I shot Hellfire. I mean, it's. I guess. I mean, yeah, it wasn't bad. I just. I mean, I guess yeah, for a printed lower, a completely printed look. I think the screws and everything too. I mean,
Yep.
it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty good, I guess. It didn't
and
break
and
immediately.
yeah, yeah, and his manual was like the go-to for manuals back in the day. It was very extensive and very well done. That's what we used to make the Firebolt manual.
Really, I actually haven't looked at that manual.
No, that thing is a fucking work of art. It's beautiful.
I looked at the FGC9 one. I like that one a lot. It basically has like even like the troubleshooting problems too. Like, oh, you messed up here. Okay, well then try like a little flow chart of okay, it's things aren't ejecting properly.
Oh, I skipped that shit and just like, you got a problem, call me, and then just put in my fucking ad and fucking manual so people can reach out to me.
I mean, at least luckily for you, it's an AR, so it's not like it's gonna be the issues I would assume for an AR problem is not nearly
Our
as
printed
bad.
issues. They're just like, hey, this is printing weird. What's going on? Oh, shit, you're the fourth guy this week with printing issues.
And that's when you decided to put the calibration things.
Oh, dude, I spent a good time on that calibration guide. I want to make sure because back in those days, back in Keybase, we had a whole channel, and I think we have a channel right now, a Rocket channel. It's like 3D FDM printing. It's technically our troubleshooting
Yeah, I remember.
printed question. Yeah, but we had that in Keybase, and I was in there all the time explaining shit to people. And so I was like, you know what? This thing is a printed assembly. It needs to be perfect, or at least close to perfect. So I need to make sure people get their flow calibrated, they get their dimensions calibrated, because this is going to save a lot of headaches down the line of people going, why is this not working? It doesn't fit,
Well, yeah, no, that's one thing. Well, I mean, also another thing too is printers. Like, the more you use them, the worse they become. Like, that's just something I've noted. Like, I was talking to the 3D printer general about stuff like this too. Like, oh yeah, no, the older your printer gets, like the more you're going to realize you're going to need to actually start working on calibration stuff. Newer printers are just going to always be really close to dimensional. I have a couple of new printers right now, and those ones that barely are touched are always printing everything just perfectly correct. And my Ender 3 is just always making things just a little bit larger, where I have to constantly keep working on it.
The Ender 3 just seems a couple love taps from time to time to get it working.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you were telling me also you use like a really modified Ender 3, right?
Yeah, but at this point it's super modified. Like back in the day when I was doing the shit, it was stock hot and it had the SKR Mini silent board, and that was really about it. I think I didn't even have a dry box until. No, I had a dry box. I had a dry box after I put in the SKR. I built that.
If you're doing PLA, dry box isn't the most necessary thing.
For some reason, for me, I thought it was necessary. It might have just been a series of bad batches, but I can't. I was printing with PLA Plus.
eSun?
Yes, and every time I used it, it was wet as shit, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And so one of the ways to fix it was I built my own dry box. But
eSun is really just usually it's always wet. I got one of those filament dryers. It's
stupid.
It's like it's such a godsend. Like especially for PLA, where you're like if you have like a normal conventional oven, you probably can't get it to the low enough temperature for it to actually dry.
No, you can't. I've had two ovens in like the apartment and the place I'm in now, and neither of them they all go to like 170, which is too hot.
Okay, that's exactly the same with me. It works great for nylon, like really good for nylon, but like for PLA, you kind of have to. You need to go low enough. Like I think the one I have right now is a Sunlu one. It's good for PLA. Like it's really really useful, and like it dries it well enough, and it doesn't. The only issue is, of course, it doesn't dry nylon well. So, but luckily that's what I have the oven for. But yeah, I understand. I mean, the biggest thing though is for calibration's really goddamn useful.
Yeah, exactly, and it saves a lot of headaches on the line because it gives people a way to be like, okay, maybe this is the problem. This will kind of thin out the herd of issues coming toward my doorstep. Let's make sure everyone's printed perfectly before they get to it. And that's also why I made a lot of the calibration prints inside of the Firebolt files. A lot of those, actually, all of them are custom.
Yeah, I noticed that. They also even have like the little blueprints too, where you can like determine where I guess like what the actual size are supposed to be.
Yeah, because you can. It's really easy with like PLA Plus to get a lot of horizontal expansion, and so it's good to have test prints that take like 5 minutes to print. To be like, okay, let's make sure things are going to go smoothly before I go and dedicate a day and a half to print all this shit and then realize it's all out of spec.
Yeah, no, when I was like working on I was trying to make a calibration video. I was realizing like really getting into everything else is way more confusing, and there's a lot more steps involved. Like flow is one of the biggest things I think people just overlook.
Flow is super important.
Right. No, yeah,
it's really easy to overlook it and completely skip out on it because it can fuck up your printer if you're printing too much.
Oh, yeah, that is some. That's like the one thing I really do like though, because I think like the other flow ones I've seen them like Thingiverse is usually like they're much taller and stuff. Yours is kind of just it's pretty small to the point. Like you can that one prints I think for like maybe 14 minutes usually for me. So it's not a hard print to do.
Yeah, right.
But let's get back to the whole. So yeah, you find the U bolt, or this is also like around the time the fire or the Hellfire, and then the Vanguard. Was the Vanguard before or after this?
Way before. Vanguard was like January 2020. I can't remember exactly when it came out. I kind
That
of just
was
probably look at the
Ivan,
files.
right?
Yep, that was Ivan.
Now, this also something I always hear about too in like comment sections and stuff. I usually don't know what to say. It was like a lot of these files were they found in like FOSSCAD first, and then because FOSSCAD, from what I remember
Yeah, a
properly, is
lot.
FOSSCADs are just basically people kind of just guessing together, and then
Most of them and the FOSSCAD files are just the models with small untested modifications. And a lot of that is what we base what a lot of people base their models off of anyway. Is they just use those like, okay, great, I have a model I can work with. Let me fucking start fucking with it.
yeah, don't basically just don't actually expect the FOSS. Like, I mean, it's a good way to start, but it's not all of them are tested, and they're not necessarily safe.
Nope. In fact, I don't think any of them were really tested because I remember someone saying that the files in there were just completely untested. They were just basically just models to be like, hey, here you go. Here's an idea of what might work.
I mean,
There's some AR-10s in there that are one incorrect, and two, the only reinforcement they have, I think, is kind of like the Hoffman. Actually, no, no, I think they're like some of them are just 1-to-1. They just have a little. They kind of look like that AR-9 I was showing you with just like the little bit extra width on the FCG walls, and that was it for an AR-10.
well, I mean, yeah, 308. I mean, how much more stronger is it compared to
Oh,
5.56? It's
compared to God's caliber 45.
I mean, 40. If it can handle 45, it can handle 308. That's
Jesus
no
Christ,
question
yeah.
what's. But like, because so I'm assuming the U bolt or yes, you're saying you found yours in like the FOSSCAD files, right?
Yep, that's where I got mine from.
And so like, you basically just I guess you incorporated specifically I guess just the U bolt from the Vanguard, right? You didn't really change
Correct.
much else from that.
That was the first major modification I made to the Firebolt that actually like started Firebolt. That's what made it Firebolt was the U-bolt.
The U bolt actually, if I remember correctly, like that really helps out a lot. Actually, like that.
It's huge. It's like major benefit to the structure of the frame. Like
Because
without it, it's not even close.
I mean, because like what was I guessing it's holding the layer lines down, right? Because I think even like the Hoffman lower, well, they're not necessarily using the U bolt. They're like using like a hose clamp, which is basically almost doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, before it was just the buffer tube screwed into the printed buffer, and the threads roll was holding the buffer together. But then with the U-bolt, it was adding that extra lateral force around the buffer and holding it down using the entire material and kind of pancaking it all together.
I'm assuming, yeah. I mean, because I do know. I mean, you said I mean, I think you still do have the files for the original, I guess. Like no U-bolt stuff, but you're saying basically the U-bolt's just the better choice always.
Always, yeah, 100%. It's just the extra edit hardware that some people don't always like, which is why I left the original files without the U-bolt in there, so people had a choice. Be like, hey, you don't want to fuck with the U-bolt? Great, just spray without it.
I mean, yeah, I guess it does. Or have you tested the one without the U-bolt extensively? Does it? How
Yeah,
long does
I've
that
put
usually
multiple
last?
mags. I don't remember my Firebolt before the U-bolt ever breaking when I did the increased buffers tube, the buffer tower reinforcement in the front takedown. That one never broke, but I only put a couple of mags through it before I started adding on the U-bolt and making rapid changes to it. So every change I would just kind of like go out in the woods, shoot a couple mags, and be like, okay, works great, and then post it to the beta chat, and keep working.
Yeah, I mean, I think the U-bolt's kind of like a good thing. Also, someone mentioned whether or not can you use the common sense low or basically the 3D printed or fire control group. I'm pretty sure you can. I think I even showed a couple videos of
I
him.
am pretty positive you can because it doesn't add any width to the trigger group.
Yeah, I think it's
The only thing you can't use with the Firebolt is the drop-in triggers like the FRT and stuff. It's just too wide.
Yeah, and actually, I had one of the palmetto ones I wanted to drop in there, but yeah, it didn't fit.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't have any double taps because I think I got the printer nice and calibrated for that. Thank you, by the way. But it, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think I saw videos of Ivan using the his original Vanguard lower with the fire, or basically the 3D printed fire control group. I'm pretty sure it should work.
Yep.
But so essentially, yeah, you basically added the U-bolt and stuff. Pretty much, what happens afterwards? Then you basically just kind of just you basically release the firebolt, or well, actually no,
In the beta, yeah, we started the beta at that point, and so then it was just like open game. It was just like, oh shit, we have a firebolt now. We have a lower. We can start making changes to this thing. We start reinforcement here, there, and everywhere.
one of the few
And
things.
so,
Yeah, well, I
yeah,
think one of the things you mentioned to me was the printed buffer tower.
that was so late in the firebolt. There was multiple changes before that. Like, so first thing I did was I remember looking at the FCG walls, and I was like, these are thin. They're like 3 millimeters, I think, at the time. And I was like, how do I reinforce these? So I was looking at them, kind of like had the assembled lower in myself, and I was like, well, I can't extend them outward because that'll make it so that the safety doesn't work, and it's not going to hold the pins any better because the pins are only so long. So I'd have to extend it inward. But I also knew that the trigger and the hammer had a set width on the inside because they're supposed to be like 1-to-1 with the width of the well. So you can't just increase the inside of the well without them not being able to fit. So I was like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And that's when I came up with the idea of the stenciled cut to the fire control group inside of the well. I can try to find you a picture of that.
If I
But
remember, well, or for the original firebolt, or not the newer one.
not the newer one. The newer one has made it so it was drop-in installation
Yeah,
with an assembled firebolt. This one was just, hey,
I do have the
you
video
can.
on Odyssey for that one specifically because I do remember that as well. In other words, it's a kind of a pain to actually set it up. But like, once you actually can get the fire control group, there's like a little cutout, like a little circle specifically for the hammer and the trigger. Like,
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about specifically. I don't think I have any images myself either for it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So that's the first, like, that's like I guess the second, upgrade I made to the firebolt was increasing the width of that fire control group. Well, just so I can make it a little bit stronger between the mag well and the buffer tower. And then after that, we started getting to the pistol calibers. Because I remember looking at the AR9 print, the unibody, the single print with like the shit takedowns. Like, well, hold on a second. I can just adapt the mag well of the firebolt and change it up a bit, add some material, and we can make it so it takes Glock mags, and then boom, we have a 9mm AR9. And so I remember doing that. I think I did that in one night. I came home from work, and then I had like all the ideas in my head, and I just started working on it. I had the AR9 model open, and I was taking my dimensions from that because it's like impossible to find an AR9 blueprint online.
Well, yeah, there's not. So the M4 stuff is usually there because the government things. You don't have that for the
Yeah,
AR9.
no. So yeah, I was just basing all of my dimensions off of that model, and I widened the magwell rear for that material, and then I obviously buffed up the magwell front as well, and then I made a single cut that went through the entire assembly, which you can do in SolidWorks. It's just super janky. You can assemble an assembly, and then you can make a cut in the assembly that goes through all the parts, and it transfers all the cuts into the parts. It's just that all of a sudden they're like referenced, I guess, and they reference to an assembly. So if you break the assembly, you break the fucking cuts. So it's super precarious at that point. But it worked. I got all the cuts in, and it was super easy by that point because it was really hard. It was going to be really hard to get those cuts in piece by piece. And then I fixed up the injector, the mag release, and finalized it. And then we had a AR9 print basically.
Yeah, I'm
And the
trying to
only thing
pull that one
The
up.
only thing we didn't have with that at that time was the bolt catch because one, pistol caliber bolt catches were kind of niche. Not every upper actually had a bolt catch mechanism. Every single one of them is unique. and 2, I didn't think it fit, so I just left it out.
Yeah, actually, I don't even own AR9, so I'm not actually really sure myself either. I'm trying to pull up actually the one that you sent me as well, the AR9 that you did, but
Let me get that to you real quick. It's right here.
yeah, I got that one actually. I think I pulled it up right now. But I'm assuming the one you sent me earlier was the original AR9.
That is the single print. That's not that's like the original AR9, like the print that
Oh,
I made back in the
right.
day. The one I just sent to you just now, that is the Firebolt's first AR9.
Okay, so this is actually the original.
That's the original model that I was fucking around with.
Oh, well, at least was it accurate then?
It was. There was some. I don't know if it was because of how I was printing it, if it was the model, or if it was my calibration. But for some reason, um, it was a little short on the takedowns. It's like the first one that I printed, and I got it all together. I was like, ready. And I slapped the upper onto it. It was too fucking long between the takedowns to fit. I was like, God damn it. So I ended up having to increase the model in one axis, the Z axis, by like 0.5%, and I got there. And so it could have just been my calibration being off, but I always had attributed it to the model. So
I
yeah,
mean, if it's a Foscat, or actually no, this is Thingiverse. My
this is a
bad.
Thingiverse. Yeah.
A little bit
So
even more sketchy in all honesty.
I feel like I checked the because obviously the takedowns are universal between all of the ARs. I remember checking the dimensions between takedowns in SolidWorks, and it came out fine. So I think I attributed it at that point. I was like, oh, I was just printing it shit. My Z-axis was fucked or something. But yeah,
So
that's the model I used to get all of my dimensions.
so yeah, you basically so then you finish the pistol caliber ones, and then
Yep.
so then is this the point where you find the buffer tower? Or you basically do the printed buffer tower?
Yeah. So at that point, we had like one of the biggest betas in the entire Keybase before it got shut down by Keybase, which was taken bought by Zoom during the
We
fucking pandemic.
we can talk about that one later. Don't worry.
Oh, but yeah, we had one of the largest betas in the entirety of Keybase. It was mine and the Wildfire at the time. We had like over 100 beta members in each channel, and one of the members was Tim Brew, who was at the time working on a printed buffer kind of stock combo for the Vanguard, and it bolted to the Vanguard. But then he came to me and he's like, "Hey, we can adapt this thing to the Firebolt because you already have a giant buffer tower that we can bolt this thing to." I was like, "That's great. I definitely want to get to that." But I was working on the pistol calibers at the time, and I think the other thing I was working on at the time was the universal rear assembly. I was working on that. So I was like, "You can just free roam. I have no problem with you working on it. If you want to, take the model and edit it, go for it." And so he did, and he adapted it to the Firebolt, and then he printed it, and he was sending me video day after day of him just mag dumping with the fucking printed buffer on the Firebolt. And I was like, holy shit, this thing works.
I mean, I haven't actually tested myself either, but I
Yeah,
mean, it looks like it. I would I kind of want to try actually myself doing that, like
I
doing a
wish I
push-up
had.
tip on it.
Yeah, I wish I had a picture of it. It's somewhere. It's lost somewhere
I
in the
feel like that's
Firebolt
something I should
files.
try at some point for it, but
It's in here. Nope, that's not shit. Anyway, but yeah.
I mean,
So,
I trust that it works.
oh yeah, I know it works. I had to test that thing extensively.
So did you actually print one yourself then?
No, I never did. It was way too much material, and I had a perfectly working buffer tube, so I was just like not worried about it.
I mean, yeah, I feel like at this point, like if it's an AR-15 like lower at this point, like I mean, Palmetto, like their kits are usually probably I'm not sure if I would consider the one that everyone gets, but I feel like most people probably get the Palmetto kits, and those ones usually come with the buffer tower for like the upper kits and everything.
What, the buffer tube?
Yeah, the buffer tube.
Yeah, if you get an LPK or a full kit from Palmetto, they come with everything for the lower.
Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of one of those things. I guess maybe if you can just get if you only can have the upper, and that point you're still now building it yourself. I guess then yeah, I guess the buffer tower works. or printing a buffer tower.
Manual is asking how many designs did I make? If you're talking like completed designs, I made the Firebolt, the Thunderbolt, and the Waffle Mag. And then right now I have the Belladonna and the AK Mag in beta.
The AK Waffle Mag.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So is that 5? I think it's 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I still think the blade is it's just a brace, dude, so they don't shoot my dog.
It's a good blade. Hey, man, braces are wonderful designs, and I'm going to
And
continue
that
doing
blade,
that.
that actually is mine design too. It's just like I saw someone made one, but they never posted the file for it, so I just made my own. It's just like a mini shockwave.
Well, you see, I posted a little short of me just shooting like a tail
Yeah.
hook scorpion. Holy fucking shit! I swear to God, like the most interaction I've ever gotten was just people being so upset that I actually used a brace properly. Like I think for now, like I need to redo everything in that video solely so I can just only use my like have footage of me shooting it with the fucking brace, like properly. I want to do it like that, but
Yeah. So yeah, so he tackled and gave me the files for the printed buffer. He also figured out the bolt catch, but his solution was different than the one that we have now. His solution was I'm gonna take the magwell sides and the rear, and I'm gonna make it one piece, and then I'm gonna etch a bolt catch into it. And I was like, okay, that works, but I want it to be in 3 different pieces. So that's when I took it upon myself to take his files, and I used his files for the measurements into the regular Firebolt files, and I started fucking around and printing it and seeing how it worked. And the first iteration was too tight. It never worked. It was super like gummy and stuff. So I kind of edited the files a little bit and made some cuts, and so I was like, okay, it's kind of catching here. I would trim that out, and I finally got it to work where it would trigger every single time. So
I mean, I remember
and then I promptly did not tell anybody that it existed in the files, so then nobody printed it.
Well, yeah, I myself too forgot the original one as well. I didn't realize. I just kind of assumed it was going to work. Although I will say it was much easier to not assemble the fire or like the bolt catch. Although it's a nicer thing to have. Like it's actually quite convenient.
Once you get it, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, this is very convenient. This makes sense why this was actually designed into it.
Actually, and the whole frame at that point was completely designed kind of around the bolt catch. Like you can see right now, if you're looking at the sides of the Firebolt on those old photos, it doesn't have those little jets that go backward toward the buffer tower on the magwell sides. I actually had to add those because of the bolt catch and making the entire rear assembly universal.
I know for the second, or at least for the Firebolt 2.0, you also added a little bit of like little wings too as well, right?
A little bit, yeah. I added little gussets to the FCG walls on the inside of the FCG well to brace the rear side of the bolt catch well, just so it wouldn't bend back as much. Because I actually noticed that with my print in my AR, I was like, oh shit, the bolt catch is broken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at, actually, I have it pulled up right now too for everyone. Is that this is actually the 2.0 one where you kind of mentioned the bolt catch was, I guess, you can kind of see the actual like little bit of walls there. I haven't printed that one actually out yet completely, but
I'm waiting for the picture to show. Oh yeah, there they are.
I'm assuming it's the Firebolt you're talking about that you saw that. How many rounds was that one actually?
Which one?
Or the one or when you started realizing it was bending backwards, how many rounds was that through?
I wasn't even rounds. That was just me running the waffle mag through it and dry, just making sure that the waffle mag triggered the bolt catch. So it was just me constantly just like slapping in an empty waffle mag or one with dummy rounds in it and just racking it over and over and over again until the bolt catch triggered. And so I think that was the main part why it eventually just got too much use out of it and broke.
Well,
but I was also taking the range like everything, so probably a mixture.
Okay, so then, so we're basically at you've pretty much, or you added the bolt, or you added the new buffer tower. The Firebolt, is this the point where the Firebolt's released?
No, it wasn't released until we did the buffer tower, we did the bolt catch, did the AR-45, and then I had the last thing we did was making the rear assembly universal. I don't have do I have a picture of that? Let me look.
If you post it
I
on
can try
Twitter,
to-
I can also just pull it up
No,
too.
this was a long time ago. It's not good. That Twitter's long gone. So there's
Let
no
me go
pictures
open
out
up
there.
advanced search on a while.
Yeah, I got a fucking Wayback Machine to find that shit. Let me see.
But you're saying it was universal? What? How?
So before it was, if you wanted to print a pistol caliber AR with the Firebolt, you had to print a different set of FCG sides to make it to work, because obviously the FCG sides for the AR-9, AR-45, they had a little bit different cuts to it that wouldn't work with an AR-15. And so what I ended up doing was being like, well, hold on a minute, why don't we just make the pistol caliber one, the universal one, but we make a few changes to it so that every single print that we do will work. And you can literally just swap out a magwell on a moment's notice, and you can change your gun up no matter what. But anyway, so that's what I ended up doing, is I just took the Firebolt 9mm FCG side files, and I edited them a little bit and made them universal. So all you had to do to print any style of Firebolt was just print the rear assembly, and then all you do is print the magwell for every single one, and you could have 3 different guns.
I mean, that's the part I like the most about it. Although the issue is then I need to also buy an AR-9 upper and an AR-45 lower or upper.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, your wallet's really gonna hurt now.
Well, I mean, yeah, great. It's just at least I better save up money on the fucking.
But that was kind of the whole point of the Firebolt too. Is I always wanted to be like, well, I want to make sure people everyone has a choice in what they print, whether that be U-bolt, no U-bolt, AR-15, bolt catch, AR-9, AR-45, and you can do any mix of buffer.
Now your mic cut out here, so I'm assuming your internet just cut out right now quickly. But also, I do see a fun question that someone said. I know if someone's making a bullpup FGC.
Is it good?
So your internet is fine right now. But
Oh, it is?
you did cut out midway through that.
Oh shit.
Someone does have something kind of interesting, we'll say, is they're mentioning. Well, you're saying basically how like you basically wanted a lower for you print basically you can just basically swap out the magwell, right?
Yep. And there's also just like anybody can choose what they want to do with it. You know, there's that many configurations of the Firebolt that anyone could be like, oh well, I don't want to do a U-bolt because I'm only doing 9mm, so they could just print the normal one, and then they wouldn't have to fuck around with the U-bolt.
Well, someone has something fun though. I guess they're saying, could someone bullpup a Firebolt?
I don't even know how that would be a thing.
Well, have you ever? So this is something I did search up a while back. I wonder if I can actually pull it up eventually. But there was there's one like article of I guess some random dude back in the day, probably maybe around your time, because this is like I'm kind of like internet historian. Am I trying my best to like figure it out? But someone made a bullpup AR lower like a printed bullpup AR lower.
What?
Yeah, like it never
I've
went.
never seen that.
Well, yeah, it was kind of I guess you have a couple of renders of it, but I've never actually. I don't think anyone actually built it, or I've never seen it myself either. I just saw like someone saying, "Hey, look, this is something I'm working on." I wish I could find it because it's such like a. Yeah, it is. I have never.
Oh shit! Hang on. Is that it?
Are you sending me
What?
that?
No, I just googled it. What the fuck?
A bullpup 3D printed AR lower. Let me see if I can find it myself too. If I remember correctly, it has like a funny name too as well. Actually, let me see if I can find it myself.
Well, it does exactly what I thought they would do with it, which is they just have like this gigantic extended like metal piece that goes all the way back to the goes all the way back to the actual fire control group. What the fuck? Even the safety?
Let me see if I can find it. Just
Who
so
said that in chat? Yeah, don't expect that anytime soon because that just looks like a fucking nightmare.
I mean, hey, I too like cursed weapon or cursed gun images as
Yeah,
well.
I know. That just looks like a fucking nightmare, even in hardware. I don't even know how we do that.
Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I show if it's
How many
showing up on
fucking
chat.
how many door hinges do we need to get that thing to work?
This is the one I'm thinking. It's Wayfary's 3D printed AR-15 bullpup. This.
Wayfairy, that's one of the original guys. That's one of the OG guys.
Yeah, I have no idea who he is. Maybe you. I think
He has
Jeff
he has a
Rodriguez was somewhere
shitload
in
of
the channel.
files. He has a shitload of files in the FOSCAD.
Yeah, so this is the one that I know about. I've never heard of the guy. I don't know anything about him myself, but all I know is that he
Fuck.
has the only AR-50 or bullpup AR.
Shit.
I don't
What
know how
the
I don't know
fuck?
how it works myself either. Like it
They
looks
literally they just took the fucking fire control group and just moved it forward underneath the fucking handguard.
it is a very unique looking design. I perhaps there's a reason why we've never actually seen how it looks completed. I
Yeah,
don't.
probably because no one has the balls to do it. Jesus Christ.
Hey, I mean that's something to do, I guess. This is this is where anyone in the audience can also shine too. This just doesn't have to be a spooky thing too.
Yeah, Jeff noted the same thing. Wayfairy has a shitload of designs.
But this is one of the this because I too also wanted to. I like cursed weapons myself, and I thought, hey, has someone actually built any bullpup guns recently? They're 3D printed, and this is the only thing that you'll like, ever find actually. So yeah, I someone asked about that. I'm not sure who. Let me see what the guy's name was again, but that was that's the only 3D printed, technically 3D printed bullpup I've ever actually seen. I don't know if it's
It just
possible,
seems so unnecessary too, because you're adding all this extra hardware just to make it a bullpup.
but I mean, do you even
How
really
does
need
that
it to be
buffer
a bull?
even work?
I'm assuming you're gonna probably want like an what is it? The AR-18? Is that is it the piston one?
Oh yeah, definitely. You'd have to do piston.
You're probably gonna want a piston. I don't know how that's gonna actually work myself, but hey, to each their own. I mean,
Yeah, I guess.
if you could design that, hey, by all means, like that's something you guys can do. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Jeffrey.
then the three people that want a fucking bullpup AR will print it.
I mean, I want one too, but like, hey, I'm assuming there's a reason why no one's actually really built that one yet. But hey, that's something we
Yep.
can. That's something we. Yeah, 20. Someone mentioned maybe for 22 LR. Yeah. Actually, you know what?
There
Maybe.
you go. Yeah, there you go.
That's
22
probable.
bullpup. That sounds fine.
The
It won't
CMMG.
explode.
Yeah, the CMMG bolt doesn't. You were telling me earlier that thing basically contains everything, right?
Yes, it does.
So yeah, I think it's doable. Oh, and then I think someone also mentioned about how what was it? Some someone mentioned about how why are there no waffle mags actually made out of waffles? Well,
Yeah, right. Let me just go turn on my toaster real quick.
I guess I mean at that point I'd eat the waffles before I take a picture of it. I'm sorry, I like waffles. They taste very well. What if we took 308 cartridges, cut them down to a small? Yeah, that's not gonna work. But yeah, okay. So where were we? We were basically saying so.
So yeah, we got to the end of when Firebolt released, and every single change was added. I had a guy that tackled the manual for me, at least the majority of it. He did the assembly portion of the manual because he was really good at making those kind of like what do they call, like exploded view assemblies.
Yeah, those are
He
really
did all
nice.
that. Yeah, he did all that, and then he sent us some music. Here you go. I was like, great, and then I finished the rest with the parts list and the calibration and all that stuff. So.
And then so at this point, then you're basically done with the Firebolt. What do you do now?
After that, after I released Firebolt, I started Thunderbolt.
Immediately.
And that almost, well, pretty close immediately. Obviously I took like a little breather. It's like, oh shit, well, I'm done with that. Can dust my shoulders off and just start doing my own thing. But then after that, I was like, well, now I kind of want an AR-10, because it can't be that hard.
Let me ask this one question because I think there's even like the whole Brownells thing too. Like, is there a difference between a AR-10 like an basically it's like a 308 AR?
It is. So there's two different types of AR-10s. There's the older kind, which is like the OG Armorlight AR-10, fucking, the Vietnam special. That's like a really old style AR. And then there's the more updated modern version, which is the DPMS. That's the newest cut. And so that one actually kind of more or less is just like an elongated AR-15 lower, made to accept 308 mags. So you can shoot 308. And that's really the only change. There's a couple of more nuanced changes to it that I didn't even realize until I was redesigning it, because I was like, well, it can't be that hard to change. It looks basically 1-to-1. You just kind of make the mag a little bigger and then you're good to go. But there was a couple of changes that I actually had to make that were kind of intricate that I found out through testing. And I didn't even do any of the testing because I didn't have an upper. All the testing I did with the Thunderbolt back in the day, which was last year about November, was by the guy who went by Moldy Ice Cream on Keybase. He printed everything and he tested everything with his AR-10 upper.
Okay.
So yeah, basically I would just model it, make sure it looked good, send him the files, and he'd be like, "Oh, this is broken." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then I'd fix it, and then we just keep going back and forth. But luckily, that's the benefit of the Firebolt and the Thunderbolt is if there's a part that needs to get changed, it's a tiny part, and you can just reprint it.
All right. And that was or how long, or how long did that take then?
That one modeling it took a few days because I had to. There's actually AR-10 DPMS blueprints out there.
Okay.
So it was a mixture of using the files in the FOSCAD, the models from that to get the dimensions I needed, as well as confirming those dimensions with the blueprints. So I would make my changes, confirm everything, send it to him. He'd be like, "Oh, this is broken. This doesn't work. This takedown needs to be bigger." There's also, I didn't even know this. They actually shifted back the trigger and hammer group a little bit. So when I sent it to him and when he tested it, that the trigger and hammer were actually a little off. It wasn't by that much. I think it was by like 2 millimeters, but it still worked.
Well, hey, this is what beta testing's for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think even in that picture I sent you, that magwell was also incorrect because it was actually skipping over some of the rounds because the magwell is not supposed to be canted. It was supposed to just be straight. So because apparently Armalite's magwell is canted, but DPMS is straight.
Really? Okay.
Yep. And then that project actually went into basically limbo because one, I didn't have a lot of testers for it. There weren't a lot of people that had AR-10 uppers. Two, there weren't a lot of people selling AR-10 uppers. I did not find an AR-10 upper until this year in the summer. It wasn't until like, oh God. Actually, it wasn't this year, it was last year. No, it was this year. It was like late this year is when I finally got it. It was like March or something.
Was it a
I
palmetto?
finally, yeah, it was a blem. It was a blemish one. I want to thank, but I think it was Boomy Hands. No, it was Dr. Swag. Dr. Swag got me that one. He sent me that file, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get this right now."
I mean, those palmetto PSA 10 uppers are pretty
They're
goddamn good.
great, yeah. But I back in the day, back when fucking the Summer of Love was happening and COVID and all that shit, I could not find an AR-10 upper. They were either all sold out or they were like thousands of dollars. So I was just like, "Oh, yep, guess I'm not getting this anytime soon." So I made the files. I had the beta open, but no one really joined it, and no one was really testing it for me. So it kind of went into limbo, and it was still in limbo after we lost Keybase and we moved to Rocket Chat. I didn't open the Thunderbolt beta until I got my upper and was able to test everything myself. So before then, it was just completely kind of in the background.
Okay. I also do know for like some of the original like pictures you posted too, you see AR 308.
Yep, it used to just be called the Firebolt 308.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just took the Firebolt files and I just modified them a little bit.
Just moved
So
them a
they
little
would.
bit over. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, just made the magwell wider, made the takedowns different. The biggest change in that, which was the biggest bitch, was the buffer tower because it actually sits a little bit higher. So I had to make that one completely from scratch.
Yeah, because I do remember hearing something about how AR 10s are not. Well, I guess AR 10s and AR 308s are a little bit different. I mean, also expect that too because it's a
Yeah,
different cartridge. All.
yeah. It's got a bigger bolt carrier group, obviously, and it sits a little bit higher than Mayor 15 does.
So in other words, you can't just completely swap everything then for a Firebolt.
No, it wasn't as easy as I thought that it was gonna be, but it wasn't that hard. Like once I got it done and confirmed all the dimensions, I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Okay, well, that's, I mean,
And it shoots like a fucking dream. I love my Thunderbolt. I think what's his face Catho does too.
I mean, if I can pick up an AR 10 for, well, I mean, I guess
Just keep looking for those blems, dude. The $500 ones. Oh my lord.
I don't think I have $500. Who knows? Maybe. I'm not sure if you guys realized with the wonderful ad in the beginning, but I'm now wonderfully monetized. So by all means, go ahead and throw super chats. Why not? If someone were to donate that much, well, then I guess I would have to test an AR-10. Until then, I'll probably have to wait a little bit longer. The grift will have to happen at some point, but not now, I guess. But so you were basically working on the AR-10 then, and there around this point
Yeah,
too.
up until I worked on the Air 10 until I got to a point where he tested it. He said it was good. That was like around Thanksgiving. I think he actually tested it on Thanksgiving right before dinner because I was on my phone getting videos of him shooting it out in the fucking wherever the fuck he was. I was like, oh hell yeah, it works, fuck yeah. And then it went completely cold after that.
Is this the dude that you were telling me, like the guy, the picture you sent me?
Yep, that's him.
The guy's hand?
That was him. Yep, that was him after he shot it.
Yeah, let me pull that one up for you guys, just because I didn't actually know that, but I thought that was you. The little.
No, I'm
That's not your
equally
arm.
as pale. I'm equally as pale. I'm not that scrawny though.
Okay, I was gonna say, well, are you fat?
No, no, no.
Okay, good. I don't want to bully you for being fat.
Don't worry.
Good. Okay.
I
Well,
don't, I don't, I don't get into my rascal scooter to go to work.
I'm glad you're not a fatty at least, but okay. So yeah, that's that picture that that is I pretty much
I use
associate.
that picture to bully so many fucking people. Holy shit!
Yeah,
Oh
I've
my
seen
god.
the picture so much
so
too.
many fucking people that will be like, "Oh, 3D printed guns aren't real," and I'll be like, "I beg to fucking differ. Here's a 308."
Yeah, I've always seen that picture a lot. I think even or I think is that one of the or
Control Q used it for the release. I think Ivan's used it a couple times, but yeah, I back in the day, I used that to bully a fucking shitload of people.
the only thing you could be bullied about with that is the paracord bracelet. But besides that, I mean, I
He's
guess
got some strong tendons. I can see that.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm wondering how he's shooting. Maybe he's such a good shot that he can just instinctively just know.
On the lack of sights too. That's
Yeah,
the cherry on top. He was shooting at like gallons, I think, just like water gallons.
yeah. I do archery. There's was it instinctive shot or instinctive shooting where you basically have no sights and you kind of just
Absolutely, you know.
yeah. I mean, I could see the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a range weapon, of course. But yeah, okay. So yeah,
So after that, and after Thunderbolt went on the back burner, I think it wasn't until like COVID really kind of started up because that's when it was like April that I started working on the waffle mag actually. Um, I remember kind of like having that like quarantine cabin fever. I'm just like, I need something to do. I need something to work on. I need a project. So I remember back when I had my old Twitter before I got nuked. Um, I asked my simps what I need a project. I need ideas though. I have no idea what to do. Give me something. And Ivan hit me up on that tweet and he was like, go after an AR-15 magazine and make it printable. And then he had a couple of prerequisites. I had no idea if I could make it work. One was it had to trigger the bolt catch, and the other one I remember was it had to take M855, so green tip.
so
And so
okay.
yeah, and then so I ran with that, and I grabbed his AR-15 magazine because I needed the model, and I started working with that. I was like, okay, what can I do with this? How can I make this printable? So first thing I was like, well, I'm the master of bolt togethers, so I might as well fucking split it up into parts. So the first thing I did was I cut it in half, and then I cut the bottom assembly in half as well, so I could print everything separately. Obviously, there was only so much I could do for the top part because once it's in the magazine wallet, you got no real estate in there. You are limited to what you can do with the outside of the frame, and that was it. So I cut it off just below where it would sit inside an AR-15, and then I made that part its own print, and then I just printed it upright. And I was like, no, okay, we'll make it a little bit hotter and see if that works. And then I assembled it. I don't remember if I waffleized it by that point. I can't remember, but
You told me the waffles is basically just a way to like
it
save.
was quite literally just material reduction because I was like, this thing's gonna take up so much fucking material. So I made like a shitty pattern on it, spread it out, and then just cut into it like I think it was like 2 millimeters. And then people were like, "Oh shit, it looks like a waffle. This is the waffle." And I was like, "Okay, I'll run with it. Great, waffle mag."
Hey, it's great branding too. I mean, I like the way it looks too.
Patty says, "Surprise! It's only 4 parts."
I mean, well, so I mean, you're talking about the bolt catch and stuff too. I didn't really realize it that much until I was looking at like, okay, because I wanted
So,
to do a little more better like testing for the waffle mag itself, and then I realized, holy crap, there's a lot of, I guess, I don't know the right way to describe it. But I guess like a lot of people are very specific about their AR mags, and I
yeah,
guess the followers and everything too. Like I
yeah.
as
So
a recent,
iteration
yeah, go ahead.
it, iteration one didn't have the bolt catch trigger because I was trying to maximize all of the material at the rear of the magazine where it would trigger the bolt catch. I just had it solid over there because I thought it would hold together the lips a little bit more if it had material to hold, but it ended up not doing shit. It wasn't until after I figured out that we could print the top part at a 45-degree angle and get it upright, and that way we could get the layer lines um on the lips a bit more vertical. It wasn't until that point I was like, oh shit, we can hollow out that bag. We can make it so it triggers the bolt catch. So that's when I edited it and stripped it out and changed the follower and then made the fucking bolt catch work. Just by pure fucking luck.
So you were telling me about the magazine, or I think it was something about like a brown follower or Magpul's one or something like that.
The ETS and the Magpul, the
Yeah,
followers.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
keep in mind, by the way, everyone else here, if in case you didn't realize, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Let me just. I don't. I've
Oh,
only kind of seen a
please
couple things.
pull up a picture of an ETS mag. These people need to be cultured, okay?
Oh, is that the clear one?
Yeah, the clear one, the one that you can bolt
Did
together, not bolt, but you can slap them together so they're like two mags in one.
wait? I think is that the one you sent me too? Actually.
That's the one I had inside my gun. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me pull that one up again. Yeah, yeah. The clear mag, the one that if I remember correctly, is the shit one. I pulled it.
Shit, and I had to fucking fix it myself with support on the phone, being like, "Hey, this thing doesn't really rack every other round." And they're like, "Well, have you tried taking off some material off the lips?" They literally had me fucking cut material off the lips until it worked.
The support. Okay, all right.
I know. Fuck, it worked. Okay, great. Thanks, ETS. Have a good day.
Hey, I mean, if you got a functioning mag, I guess congratulations, good job. But okay, so yeah, you were saying something about how I mean I've never actually pulled out my Magpul one. I think I have a Magpul Gen 2 or something. Yeah, Gen 2. I think there's a Gen 3 right now out. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have enough 5.56 to shoot my AR. Plus, I've just recently owned an AR for like 4 months. So bear with me, I guess.
Yeah. So what I noticed on the mag, so I was looking at the followers, right? And way back then, I don't know why, but I was noticing that um the waffle mag was super gummy when you were loading rounds into it. Like you'd have to kind of like slap it a few times to get the rounds to come up when you were unloading it. And I was attributing that to the follower getting stuck inside the magazine. And so I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do here? And so that's when I noticed that the ETS magazine, the follower on it, it doesn't have a rear leg. So the backside of the follower doesn't have a leg that goes all the way down to the base. Only the front does. So it's like, well, if that one doesn't have a fucking leg, mine doesn't have to have it either. So I just chopped off the fucking rear of the follower, and it worked great after that.
So
It started fucking working.
you're you're imitating quality, pure quality.
Yeah, exactly. Imitating quality. I'm just like, I'm taking ideas for whatever I can. I'm like, well, does this fucking thing do this? It does. Great. Let's run with it.
I mean, I fired mine a couple. I mean, I fired my waffle mags well enough. I mean, it's worked.
They run better with live ammunition. I will say that they do. They are kind of shit at first when you're just dry cycling them, just because the act of the recoil is really what brings the rounds up with the follower
I mean,
with the printed sides.
yeah, I shot mine. I mean, the biggest issue I always had with live, I mean, for mine was specifically either my printer wasn't calibrated and I took a Dremel to it, or No, that was pretty much it. Yeah, it fit everything fit perfectly well. If you got everything calibrated, it worked.
Yep.
It worked just as well. I mean, it's just yeah.
And
It,
it's
it
an
does feel a
assembly
little
that really
clunky.
likes to be burnt in and used. Basically, you really got to put rounds into it. You got to shoot rounds through it to kind of get the inside of the mag weld more smooth, I guess.
I mean,
And then it starts working like a dream.
the bolt catch worked and everything in the end too. So I mean,
Yep, everything worked in the end. And I had to end up I had to thin out a little tiny bit of material from the front of the magazine so that M855 would fit, but past that it worked.
so then you basically completed Ivan's little, I guess,
I
bounty.
completed his quest. I fucking got that shit working and very proud of it.
You got your nice little internet clout, right?
And that's where my fucking clout started, was the fucking waffle mag. Past that, nobody really interacted with me.
I mean, it looked cool.
I had some OG Firebolt sims, but past that, nobody really downloaded or came to me about the Firebolt except for on Keybase fast questions.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Or you don't have it anymore, but you had the spook or waffle mag dev as well for your Twitter handle for a while.
Yep,
But
but
like,
that quickly got got taken down.
now why did that get taken down though?
I can find now, dude. I can't remember. I can't remember every single time they take down my fucking Twitters.
Good point. Yeah, it is Twitter after all.
I think
But
I'm on my. I don't. This is in Minecraft. I'm on my 4th account, I think.
ah, only
Shep's quest to make a railgun. Yeah, I'm just
only.
gonna. My plan for that is to power it with a Prius battery.
Well, actually, one of the things I was actually trying a little, one of my little secret projects I've been working on is fucking like coil guns. Dear God, those are a fucking pain. If you don't know engineering like electrical shit, you're gonna have a wonderful time working with like coil gun, or at least
Yeah, and I can't even imagine trying to get fucking normal fucking people to work with that shit. You're gonna have
oh
people
God.
exploding capacitors in their face
Well,
and losing all their eyes.
yeah, trust me, that's like the one thing you start realizing what some of the designs are like. Well, okay, when we realize some of the capacitors just stopped working because of the way we did our circuitry. So yeah, just don't even bother with it. Like the documentation on it's kind of just good luck. But hey, it's a possibility. You can do that. There are a couple like Russian documentations that you can Google Translate your best to. We can. It's a thing. But hey, okay, so now you finished your waffle mag. You got that done.
Yep. Which promptly led into, hey, can we do this for AK mags? I was like, do you have a model for it? And then someone was like, there's one in the FOSCAD. I was like, what? And
Wonderful.
turns out I had no fucking clue this was the thing. This was like year 1.5 into the 3D printed community. I had no idea there was a magazine for the AK that has its own Wikipedia page.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's called the God, what's her fucking what, the Feinstein mag.
Ah, okay. The clever.
Yeah, kind of
Uh,
like the Menendez mag for the Glock, but this one was for AKs.
yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, there is one. And so that was like a day's worth of work because I already knew what everything that needed to be done for this based off of the Firebolt, except I knew where I could kind of save time as well. So I worked this one up in a little bit of time and got that one out to the masses for testing. And it fucking worked. The only thing that was a little iffy about it was the teeth that snap into the frame. People were either saying it was too loose or too tight. But I just attributed that to AKs being so fucking janky.
I mean, don't those have like looser tolerances if I remember correctly? Isn't that?
Yeah, and so I literally just shaved off like a millimeter from the rear tooth. I was like, okay, here you go, go nuts. Because
Well,
I'd rather it have too much material than it have too little.
one thing I remember too, does it also use the AR-15 like mag? Or
That
mag
one
spring?
was a more recent change. Because I was doing some research, like, AK's mag springs aren't really a thing. How are we gonna do this? And so I made an adapter. I took the follower and I just hollowed out the inside of it, and then I just put a little, basically like an identical attachment point, except for it's just a channel that the AR magazine spring the internal bend, it just locks into that, and so it takes an AR magazine spring.
I mean, that makes it really convenient, at least for us in the U.S. to build.
Fuck yeah, it does. It makes it so cheap too.
Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah. Then we get to the wonderful. Oh, great! Now we have an AK in the U.S. Oh, wonderful! Great. Everything's the ammo's fucking banned. But hey, it was a great idea. Well, in the meantime, right?
Oh yeah, and it's been great. It's just that it just doesn't have a lot of traction, obviously, since there's not that many people. But it works. It's a 100% working design. I've had many people test it.
I mean, you got the you got the unfortunate whole. We just banned Russian ammo. So, I mean, like I would have
Oh,
actually.
I know, right? Yeah. And so it's just like, oh, great. Okay, another back burner.
I mean, like, hey, I mean, you got the. I'm assuming some people that bought Russian ammo in bulk. I bet they'll help out.
Well, we've already tested it. I've already had people send me multiple videos of it working. I
So,
think I sent it to a guy recently, actually. That wanted to print it, so we'll get more results from that as well.
also,
But I'm confident in the design.
someone mentioned the Title One firearms. If I remember correctly, Title One firearms are like the.
What is that?
It's. I think I sent it to you once. It was like the weird Cali compliant gun where it's like an AR-50. It's a 16-inch barrel, but it uses a pistol buffer and a pistol brace because
What
it's not
the
a fire.
fuck?
Essentially, it's not. It's not an AOW, but it's an other. Like
How
it's
does that even work?
so it's a Franklin Arms thing. If you don't pay attention to Cali compliant shit, then you're not gonna. Of course, you're not gonna understand this. Title One firearm. It's a Cali thing. It's like it's a. It's not an AOW. It's not a pistol because it has a 16-inch rifle or barrel, but it's not. It doesn't have a rifle stock because there's a pistol or buffer, so it's not a rifle. It's not in any other weapon because of some other random bullshit. It can take detachable mags because some sort of stupid Cali thing. But hey, it's not a firearm. It's not anything. It's just in this weird classification called an other.
God, I love United States fucking gun laws. Holy shit.
If it made sense, I would. I don't think it'd be
Any
a big
other
issue.
person on the fucking planet, like, yeah, that's a gun. And then California's like, no, no.
Well, I think if I'm assuming, I'm not sure what this guy's going to go with this, but I'm pretty sure also that when California realized, hey, this thing exists, it pretty much is able to skirt through all our laws. They immediately held a emergency session because, of course, this is a pressing issue. People might own a gun that shouldn't be owned. They were able to they were able to slip through the Cali I guess registration and things as for being able to own it was one of those assault weapon loopholes sort of a thing. I I don't know how that goes. I don't know how it went.
That reminds me of the Olympic Arms AO-98, which is an AR-15.
Oh, I know the one.
Fucking
I
it's
think I know
got skeletonized AR-15 because back then the fucking definition of a fire like a rifle I think was based on the weight, and so they just removed enough material from the fucking gun to make it so I would pass.
the first Gucci AR.
Oh my god!
That is, I mean,
Holy shit!
I'm not from Cali. I don't think you're from Cali either. You already
No,
told you're from Seattle, or you're from well, not Seattle. You're from Washington because I made
I'm
fun
in
of you for it.
Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're not from Cali, so I'm sorry. We're not. I I think Title One is only like a California thing. So
There's a lot of fucking like shit that's just purely California. I've had people ask me, "Hey, can we attach this fucking California compliant grip to the Firebolt and it'll work?" I was like, dude, you're attaching a grip that makes it so that the entire recoil goes through the grip screw and into the fucking pistol grip on a Firebolt, and that would work, right? If we made it where it was a singular print.
like
But there's no way in fucking hell I'm gonna do that with a regular Firebolt because that's gonna break in two shots.
just make the whole buffer tower assembly into like the buffer tube as well. So the printed buffer tube, you're basically gonna have to combine this now, and then you add like a little thumb hole, and in that case, congratulations, you have a little bit of a grip. You're not having a pistol grip anymore, but you got like
Not a
something.
pistol grip, but it's a grip.
It's a grip. Hell, just ask Citizen Hush to rip through the fucking pistol grip.
Fucking
Congratulations.
Christ, I love that crack addict.
Don't worry, we'll get to that one soon.
I can't wait till we get to that one.
Okay, so you finished the waffle mag. All right, you basically finished Ivan's Bounty. You
Yep.
you basically copied the ETS mag, which is hilarious in its own
No,
right.
no, no, it's not copied.
You're
It's
right, of
just,
course, because
I,
Pat.
I got the idea.
We have yeah, parallel thinking, of course. And
Yeah.
okay, so you finished the waffle mag. What now?
So I did finish the waffle mag, got the AK mag to a good point, and then by that point, that was May of this year. So what was I doing? So by that point, I was starting my new job. I didn't start actually think I throughout the entire year, ever since Firebolt got released, which was in November of last year, I was getting people coming to me with issues, obviously with the gun. Oh shit, I can't, how do I install the fire control group? Oh, well, you have to do it when the magnet's not on. You have to do that with the magwell not on. How do you do the U-bolt? Well, you write it down. Well, how do you do this? Blah 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 blah. Where's the bolt catch? It's in these files. Oh shit, I didn't put that in the manual. There's a lot of subtle changes that I didn't realize, obviously, at the time of release, that I didn't include in the design or I didn't include in the manual. That I was like slowly kind of adding up and tallying. Okay, I gotta fix these things, and I was like, okay, but it'll be in like a full release. I don't want to do like a million and one big changes. I know I did one update to the Firebolt. I can't remember what it was, but that was like the only update I did. That was kind of like a stealth update to the Firebolt files. But past that, I was just saving all of the design fixes and the manual fixes for like one big update, and that turned out to be Firebolt 2.0. And Firebolt 2.0 didn't actually turn out to be a thing until Citizen Hush ripped off that fucking grip.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull that one up. Actually, that was fun.
Because I always knew that the grip was like the Achilles heel of printed guns, or not printed gun, but printed AR lowers, just because there is really no way to get around that part being shit. It's a plastic part, it's thin as hell, and it takes a screw that does not hold on to much, and it's also where your fucking hand holds the entire gun, so you're going to be bracing the entire gun and the weight of the gun with that grip. It's going to eventually break, no matter what kind of shit you do with it. Doesn't matter what lower you print. So that was always a problem that I knew needed to be fixed, but I didn't know how to fix it. So I did what part of the stealth fix that I did, I'm remembering now, was adding a little bit of extra material to the grip part by chipping off some material from the FCG sides, just so I had a little bit more material, but it didn't do anything. It didn't do anything to where the grip attached to the pistol grip. So it still didn't really. It didn't solve the issue, because I was still going through like grip parts every 4 or 5 months, where eventually it would just start wobbling so much. I was like, okay, this thing's about to break. Got to reprint it. Which obviously it's not that big of a deal, but it was just annoying. But then, fucking hush, ripping off that grip was just like the catalyst of like, okay, this needs to have a solution. We got crack addicts, crack dealers out here just fucking tugging at this gun with all their might. It's gonna break. We need a solution.
Yeah. And
And
this.
then I got the idea. Hey, why don't we just make the pistol grip? Because we have a pistol grip file that's included with the Firebolt files. Why don't we just take that grip part and combine it with the grip part and make it one? And so it was a late night. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. I modeled it, made it, set it off to print, and then went to bed. I woke up and I was like, got the print. I was like, holy shit, this thing's strong as fuck. And I installed it, and it was probably one of the best changes I've made to the Firebolt, was making that pistol grip combo, because that thing is so fucking strong.
Well, I see right now RK Spookyware, of course, mentioning the whole self-tapping screw thing as well. He says
That was the first thing that I ran with those, actually, was the self-tapping screw, but even those broke eventually.
I mean, I'm assuming it probably delayed it because it's.
Yeah, it's a lot different than the fucking grip screw that comes with a normal LPK,
Yeah.
but it still eventually just breaks just because of wear and tear.
No, yeah. So I mean, so yeah, the good old. What do we ended up calling it? The grip actually in the end.
I call it the grip combo.
Okay.
But I think we had a thread
Yeah,
of
I was
names
wondering
for
if
it.
it
Where
was
it was like the
Hush Lock or not.
hush something, the hush lock or
I
whatever.
liked
but,
Hush Lock a lot. That was I thought
yeah,
that was-
obviously, I don't want to confuse people in the fucking file, so I just call it the grip combo.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, besides that, what were the other changes as well with the or
So after
2.0?
that, it was just like, oh, now we're making a big change in wild and start doing everything. So I added the changes to the fire control group size with the gussets, and a big one was making it so that fire control groups could be drop-in installation compatible with a fully assembled lower, so that people didn't have to take it apart and do some crazy shit to install their fucking fire control groups and their trigger and hammers. That actually took a little bit of fucking trial and error because I thought I could just make it like vertical drops that went straight down. But then I remembered that these things have springs that you actually have to swing them in to get them into position. And so then I was doing plots of like, okay, where does this thing fucking swing? What do I need to cut? Blah, 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 blah. But I finally got it to a good point where it was like the minimal amount of material that I needed to remove without compromising too much of the structure, I guess. And it was good. It worked. It made it so everything could just be drop-in installation. It wasn't a fucking pain in the ass anymore.
Well, yeah. Then you also what was it? Didn't you also
We,
add some? No.
we added some cuts to the buffer tower for the safety because apparently the safety was hard to manipulate.
Right. Yeah. That and also didn't you also add the Fed? What was it that a possible if you wanted to add a in theory, of
Oh,
course.
that. Yeah, in theory, it was like a coat hanger device or something like that.
I
I
don't
don't
know. I don't
these
remember.
kids these days.
Something I don't know. Some kids were
They're
asking for
doing
some
weird
weird
shit.
things, but apparently,
I made that change actually for somebody. God, I made it from Rocket Chat like months ago because they were just like, "Hey, can you make this a little bit deeper?" I was like, "Why?"
I don't. Oh,
A certain device was like, "Okay, there you go. Here's the file," and then I just implemented it and made it universal.
you're dropping you're
You
dropping
dropping
trigger. Wink,
something
wink,
in
nudge,
here, huh?
nudge.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, everything should fit. So I think
Here you
someone
go.
actually
It
asked that.
fits.
I think someone asked that
Godspeed.
specifically as well. But hey,
What?
somebody asked about does it? Or someone mentioned
Oh yeah, I answered that in the chat. Yeah.
yeah, it's except the or was it the FERT or the whatever the WTO whatever the
No,
not
it'll
knock.
never take the fur. Purely, it's not because I can't remove the material from the inside. It's because of those screws that go through the buffer tower arms. They interfere, so it's never going to work. But
Okay,
whatever. You
okay. Well,
can you can you can put a fucking Swift link in there. You,
uh,
you can get you can tickle your
hey,
fancy with that.
a swift link. I mean, of course, when you're doing your cosplay and you're showing off your airsoft weapon or
Yeah,
weapon.
yeah, that's how you get the most, the most optimized cosplay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's authentic, and they're almost.
It's just a bottle opener.
Have you ever seen
It's
the fucking it was the Chinese like really accurate cosplay like props where they like have like they'll have dummy rounds too where you can like cock it back and everything too. Like it's really some of them are really nice actually.
yeah,
But
right.
but yeah, of course this is what we're talking about. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
no weapons of course here. But
No, no.
yeah, okay, so you added the fun cuts. Thankfully, my wonderful video with Citizen Hush and everything. By the way, which of course you should watch if this does get re-uploaded. I think I'll probably leave it on the channel. I'll put a card on there for
Yeah.
the video, of course. But so the biggest thing I remember was the grip, and then
Yep.
also I
But
think I
the
mentioned
biggest thing that people came to me with, and the one that I noticed the most, was the fucking bolt catch and the lack of it too. Okay, the you fuckers not putting that bolt catch and just being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna
I'm
just
not
gonna
sure if
rock it solo."
I'm not sure if it was Spooky or is it RK Spookyware or Spookware, either on the stream that I did with them, or maybe it might have been a little like we were talking about earlier. It's like I told Spooky to make it more more apparent.
Oh yeah, so I standardized it. It is the file that you print now. You have
Okay.
to try really hard to print a firebolt without a bolt catch.
To forget the bolt catch. Okay, yeah, because that was something I remember too. It was like, oh shit, I printed the
Every
not
time
bolt.
people would send me their fills, I'd be like, "Oh, you didn't want the bolt catch, huh?" They're like, "What bolt catch? What?"
Yeah. Okay.
I was
Okay.
like, "Fuck's sake."
Okay.
Okay.
Now people should remember the bolt catch. That's a big thing. That's a really big thing, by the way.
Yeah, a little important.
But okay, so yeah, people remember the bolt catch now.
Yeah. So we
What
did
now?
that. We did I think I already talked about this. The safety ease of access cuts.
That was a thing. Did I mention that to you too? Is like because that was also one thing I talked to Citizen Hush about himself.
Yep.
We were both talking about it because he was. I mean, he's more really into like the 80% lower type of a thing. He finds 30 printed stuff cool. I mean, it was more like I think he'd said, um, that was his like thing is just a little. It's a lot harder to reach to, and that I kind of agree with him too in that regard as well.
Yeah,
It's
it's just part of the design of the buffer tower. When I first made the U-bolt buffer tower, we had to make a cut because the original buffer tower. If you're looking at that picture of the AR9,
oh
you can actually see what the original side of the buffer tower arm looked like, and it had that kind of angled cut. I completely forgot about the swing of the safety, so I ended up having to make a barely fit cut so that the safety could fully toggle all the way upward. But I also completely forgot to make it so it was easy to reach.
yeah, I I'm trying to pull that one up for make sure everyone sees that one again because
Here,
I like the
you can
air.
actually see it right there. It's actually right there. You can see it in that photo, that tweet.
Don't worry, it's about to get ruined in a second for you.
That's fine.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Either way, so I mean, the safety cut was a big thing. Or that was something I also kind of I agreed with Hush too that it was a little bit harder to kind of reach. But I mean, I'm glad I did test out the one that you sent me. I'm not sure if you were also kind of telling me too that
Okay.
was a part of that was the beta of the beta of the beta thing.
Oh yeah, it was just like that one was easy though. That was an easy fix. It was just adding a fucking chamfer,
Curve. Yeah, a
one
little.
fucking click of a button, and it was there. And just, I didn't do this before. Fuck.
It does help actually. I will say it did help a
It
lot.
does. Yeah, I have it on mine, and it helps a lot. It's a lot easier to toggle.
But yeah, I mean, it at least keeps at least some of the or a lot of the structural
Yeah.
integrity. But yeah, so those were the two changes I know that were the biggest for me. Did you also change the grip? Because I know was it the one that you sent me was the MOE not MOE. It was an MOE inspired grip.
There's two grips in the Firebolt files. One of them has a kind of pseudo beaver tail, just
Okay.
because the original file that I edited so that it would fit on the U-bolt had a bigger beaver tail, but I had to cut out material from it that in the shape of the rear of the Firebolt, basically. So it was nice because it went around that back corner and it made it so your hand didn't kind of get cut up too much. But it was just
I wear gloves.
one of the files that I have, basically. The other one was just one that didn't have a beaver tail at all, and it's universal to all the frames.
I like the MOE inspired grip. I don't know, maybe I haven't really tried too many grips besides the A2 one, but the MOE one I think feels nice.
Yeah.
MOE like. But I did like the one that you sent me. That one definitely I preferred it. I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't obviously that one didn't rip off. Granted, I wasn't in the hell or the spawns of Satan, the level of hell or heat
Oh
that I
yeah,
went through.
100-degree fucking heat. Cook your gun.
115 like that was a quarry. It was very very hot. But yeah, I wasn't in that one specifically. Who knows? Don't worry. We'll have Hush eventually try to retry that again soon.
Please. Yeah, I want to see him actually try to fucking eat that sucker.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll have that eventually. But yeah, that one's not coming off easy.
He'll be the second negligent discharge where he shoots himself on the fucking leg, trying to rip off the grip.
I don't worry. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna get it. I was able to do push-ups on it. I think we're fine. But
Yep.
so the biggest, at least the two big things that I think most people will notice will definitely be the safety thing, and then I guess the grip as well. But
Yep.
you also too moved you were also saying too because I think there was a comment too in one of the videos where it was the what was it, the buffer retention or buffer
I
what it,
remember that from your fucking video. Oh my god. Like we got a plethora of fucking changes just from that video comment section alone. Holy shit.
well yeah, I mean hey, that was well, hey, that's the one thing I liked the most about it too, is when I mentioned this to you, you were more of like, well, great, okay, well, let me go incorporate that to the
Great,
next
let's go
one.
fix it right now. Here you go. Thanks, bud.
Right, yeah, no, instead of just getting really butthurt and complaining about it, you're more like, oh, thank God, okay, great, let me go fix it, and then so that doesn't happen. Which is a very nice thing, of course. Oh God, okay, did he cut out again? Let me double check. He haven't responded. I'll give him a couple seconds, guys. Don't worry. He'll come back. But hey, though, I also saw someone said they made a bento box or phone. Hey, or if you have me on Instagram or Twitter, by all means, please send me that. Actually, I really do want to know how the bento
You
box
there?
goes. Okay, yeah, you cut out a little
Okay.
bit.
And my monitor, unplugged my microphone cord somehow. I don't know how, but whatever.
Okay, you're back. Don't worry, you're good.
Someone in chat said the safety hitting the bullhead. I fixed that. There is a very, very small couple cuts on the side of the FCG well, and you have to use the what are those heads of the M3 called? The really small heads.
Oh god.
There's a specific name for them, but they have like these really tiny heads on the M3 bolt, and you use those, and the safety glides right over it.
Yeah, no, that was something too. I think I was going to mention. I'm glad you actually fixed that on your own. Then, okay.
Yeah, that was fixed in the original Firebolt because before that it was just you would hit the bolt with your safety and you're like, okay, it's kind of there. At least it doesn't fire. We'll call it good.
yeah, I just kind of.
But then people were like, we should probably fix this so the safety fully engages.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we got
I just
that
screwed it
fixed up.
really, really tight. In that case, it kind of
Because there was really no other way to fix that. We needed both those screws, and you couldn't make them any closer together, or else it would be such a shitty system. The leverage wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
Button heads, thank you, Arcade. Yeah, button head type screws is what we used to fix up. Before that, we were like messing with push button safeties, but eventually those actually broke
Really?
the FCD size. Yeah, because it changes the safety action from one that goes along the frame down the long side. It goes lateral, and those walls are like paper thin. So eventually, the detent actually breaks out.
Okay. No. Also, I do see someone mentioning something. So, okay, so we're talking about the Firebolt 2.0, and now you were also mentioning too how like you kind of use some of the U-bolt stuff or the original U-bolt stuff. Someone's asking about the original, or I guess the Ivan's new U-bar. I'm not sure if you've even touched it at all, or at least looked at it
I
too
haven't
much.
touched it. I've been watching it. I've been watching the.
I mean, the one thing we both mentioned was that you can now fit a waffle mag in it, right?
Yeah, right. I think he did. I finally realized why he did what he did with the Vanguard. It's because he made it so it can print flat on a print bed. That he just made the entire lower basically just reach the bottom of the print bed. So
Yeah.
that's why it reaches so low.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't have the image of it available. I remember you showed.
I will say to the question, to the Ivan's U bar, that what they're doing with that really is a solution to a unibody style print. So if you want to print your lower in one go, but you don't want to have to reprint it again when shit breaks, e.g. like the front takedowns, it's good to have reinforcements like the U-bolt and the what it was called, like the U-bar, the front pins. It's good to have those taking the brunt of the forces that your print lasts longer than it would without them. Because otherwise, what do you gotta do when it breaks? You gotta print an entire fucking lower, and that takes 2 fucking days.
Or, I mean, that's the one fun. I mean, the one benefit I always liked about, at least why I actually was really interested in the Firebolt to begin with, is okay, great. Let's say.
Oh shit, those fucking U bars are $6 a piece. Oh fuck.
Thank fucking God I got the arcade spookware kit. By all means, be sure to visit arcadespookware.com if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he has a really, really nice factory in Cambodia where he gets all of his parts.
Hey, it's at least someone in the U.S. is making money, and that's all I gotta say. He's a cool dude, all right. He showed up on the stream that got struck down, but because you were the one thing I really liked about the Firebolt specifically was okay, like the part that I would assume was gonna break. I mean, well, you were also telling me about it was a pistol grip. I remember I think there was a picture of what was it, the MDR, the Desert Tech MDR, like the bullpup like 308 rifle.
Yeah,
That one too broke on the pistol grip, and I remember you saying something like, "Oh shit!"
I remember talking about that at the same time we were talking about the grip part
Yeah, it was like
solutions
right
anyway
between
too.
each other, right? Yeah,
And it was just like, wait, hold on, the fucking MDR's grip also breaks.
literally the same. You're like, oh, this is the exact same thing that happens to the Firebolt. Okay,
What's up, Jonathan? Showstar.
Jonathan Joestar. Oh boy, I'm glad to know we got a Joestar here. That's great. But okay, so yeah, you were mentioning so like, oh, the grip part breaks. Well, that's like a tiny piece of like, okay.
Oh yeah, dude, that's one of the easier prints. It's like a
Yeah.
3-hour print.
Yeah, so like it's a very small print, and if anything, like it's not going to destroy anything else. The only other thing
And
I
it's
would think,
super. Give you this. It's super easy to replace a grip part when it breaks.
well, and that's kind of the one thing I liked about the Firebolt too, because I mean,
Yeah.
it's just PLA after all. So like, when I come to expect of it, like I'm not expecting like pure like I guess full mil spec standards and everything. I'm not expecting it to like hell the infernos that I dealt with. I mean, hey, the gun didn't or the only part that ripped out was the grip, and even that I'm pretty sure is also because it wasn't that calibrated.
It's
It was
because you
also
handed it to a crack addict and he
I did
was
handle it
strung
to
out. Okay.
we know crackheads have crack strength after all. They have power armor and like super strength. So Hush Hush is a big boy, but the hole I think also was a little bit larger as well. It really wasn't that like I don't expect too much from PLA. So the benefit of I guess like the Firebolt is well, it's I can reprint the part that breaks so easily, and it's takes pretty much no effort, no time. The
Yeah.
the U-bolt, or I guess the U-bolt part, I think would be the most. I think that's probably the most crucial part. Probably, would you agree?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that part, that's a little bit a harder print, but I mean the U-bolt holds it down pretty well to the point where I don't really feel too scared about it as well.
No, I've never had any problems with my U-bolts. The only time I had a problem with my U-bolt bolt buffer tower was with the 308, and it's only because I printed it vertically like I was normally doing it.
Ah,
And that was when I was like, oh, well, we got to start printing this thing horizontally.
yeah.
I
Okay.
guess we need that. I guess we need that little tiny bit of extra material strength to hold this thing together.
And that's where you can also plug in your wonderful new vent fan too, right? Those goddamn angles.
Fuck me, dude. Yeah.
Those angles
That's
are
that's
hard.
that's precisely why I made that vent fan, was because I was trying to print that fucking thing on the side and it kept failing. It kept just I'd wake up and there's a string of spaghetti and a shitload of parts all over my fucking print bed.
Yeah. So
A
someone else,
smoke rock.
Hush Smokes Rock. Yeah. It's also Jonathan Joestar mentioned highly contentious some, but we kind of mentioned this that you were talking. It was around the beginning of the video, but basically just to go over it really quickly, you were saying 6 walls, right? But it changes per print, right?
Yeah, it definitely changes print. Excuse me. Every part on an AR lower, if we're talking specifically AR lowers, is different. So when we're looking at like the sides of the magazine, well, you can cheap out on that. Honestly, I mean, regardless of how you print it, you're really only holding together the front takedown to the rest of the frame. So I would still print it with like 6 walls, but info wise, you can go nuts, and it has to print flat anyway. So you're getting the best print orientation out of the whole thing anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
When it comes to the rest of it, buffer tower is where I like to go a little bit more liberal with my prints. I like to up it to like 8 walls and 50 to 75% infill, and I always use triangles. With Kira, I always use triangular infill just because it's the strongest infill.
hexagonal.
I don't use hexagonal.
I,
It's slightly less strong, and it's hexagonal kind of makes it so that the pattern is it retains its strength in both lateral and whatever the other freaking word is for
vertical.
vertical. Yeah, vertical and lateral forces. But if you're printing it the way you're supposed to, you want the triangular infill. Um, you want the triangular infill in the way of the forces so that it holds it better.
Well, I trust you because you're an engineer. But I mean, yeah, that's that, and also what was it? Have you ever tried a was it like a 0.6 millimeter nozzle?
No, I've never changed the nozzle from point four.
I got one of those like kits where it's 0.6. It's kind of nice because you can also just or you can make or was it 0.6 wall or 6 walls? I got like to 0.4 with the 6 millimeter nozzle. It's
Right.
really it's nice, but yeah, cooling also becomes another thing, and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we should get into that.
To answer Joe Star's question, though, there is no real optimal infill to wall ratio. If you're late, and you didn't catch the beginning, I mentioned a video that I watched a long time ago. Did a lot of tests with infill ratios and print infill patterns as well, and they found that 6 walls and 15% infill is like the bare minimum of this is optimal strength. You'll get just as about as much strength as 100% infill compared to 6 walls and 15% infill. And you can basically go from there. So if you want it to be stronger, you can either up the walls or up the infill. I always go with up the walls because the shell is what handles the majority of the forces of these things. The infill is kind of just there. It helps a little bit, but it's not. It's you get diminishing returns.
Right, yeah, I think it was like usually.
Yeah.
I think I remember. Like, I usually tell people too. I think I made one. Like, I think I made like an April Fool's video where I kind of just did a shitty like quick thing. Pretty much, I think I said like 4 walls is like the very bare minimum. 6 is usually good if you're using 0.4. But once you get past like that, you're getting to like, I think you start getting to the point where it's just not really useful. I mean, have you ever tried
No.
like a concentric infill pattern for like Kira? That's basically just only walls.
Yeah, I know, right?
Which at that point, I guess like that's like the 0% infill, 99% like 99 walls. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So where were we at this point now? So we're mentioning something about how so basically hush grip, the hush grip, safety thing, and that's basically the firebolt. Or uh, obviously there's more, but that was the major points of at least the firebolt or 2.0, right?
Yeah.
And then we basically move those things over to the thunderbolt, right?
Say it one more time. Sorry, I was looking for that.
So
Looking for that guy.
all right, yeah. So we basically just moved that over to the Thunderbolt. We moved the changes that we did for the Firebolt 2.0 to the Thunderbolt slightly.
Yep, I did exactly that. I moved every single change that I did to the Firebolt that I could, and I moved it. I just replicated over to the Thunderbolt, and then the manual overhaul was also the big thing that I did for both the Firebolt and the Thunderbolt. I wanted those manuals to be crystal clear. I didn't want anybody to have any confusion, and I wanted to make sure that every single part in the files was included, so that everyone knew what they were getting into and what was included.
And
So
I truly appreciate the whole like
that actually took the longest. That took the longest to do out of all that fucking shit.
I mean
Changing the model was cake.
I completely believe that. I mean the biggest thing I think the most useful one of the most useful things you did was the calibration stuff. I mean that really is one of the hardest things I think most people really just overlook. Because like
It took me a long time to figure out calibration because in 3D printing is when you have like an under 3, just because it's so bare bones, you learn so much about what you need to do to get good prints because you're kind of forced to. You know, you have the hardware and the bare bones of what you need to print, but to get it to print correctly, you really got to tune it.
well, yeah,
So
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's a good print. Like, you can print everything well, and it's just for at least for an Ender 3, the V2 a little bit less, but the Ender 3 originally, like, it takes a lot more work.
it does, but you can get great prints out of a fucking new 3. I print models all the time that I bring to work that are more like
I wonder, yeah,
that are more like figurines, I guess, that are just beautiful.
I wonder if Jeff Rodriguez is still here. But like, I remember him and Durwood have the same exact printer. Like the ridiculous. It's basically like I think it's like GrabCAD or something. It's like it's essentially one of the very few like actively heated printers that was almost immediately taken down because of copyright infringement. But it's like one of the really good printers. Like that one is, I like that's a different thing completely compared to like an Ender 3. Most people have.
Yeah, and I think the heated ones are mostly ABS because ABS kind of requires a
Well, yeah, if you can do.
you don't want a heated enclosure for PLA. You'll get heat. What's it called?
Well, yeah, you don't. Or for PLA, it's really nice to cool it down. Like that's why people have the ridiculous like fan shrouds and shit. Like you can get, or it's much nicer. Or you can print PLA a lot faster. You can do a lot more things when you get better cooling with that. ABS, you do not want that.
Yeah. Well, I spent a fuckload of time making an enclosure with like the lac table.
Uh,
I had no idea that enclosures were purely for ABS, and then I learned about heat creep.
well,
So
yeah,
I was
that
like, why
becomes
the
a thing.
fuck are all my prints fucking failing?
Yeah,
Oh
it's a
shit,
thing.
you're not supposed to put a fucking enclosure on PLA.
Well, yeah. Well, you see, I learned from my Brazilian friends is you can just put a couple trash bags over it, and you can get the
Oh
similar.
yeah, I know, right? You get the same effect. Just
Well,
basically
I
the
mean, this
same
is
thing.
Brazil after all. I expect much from them, so I'm glad that it actually does work well enough. The trash
Well,
bag, but hey, yeah, for ABS, that's great and all, but okay, we were so yeah. Wait, where were we at again? Firebolt 2.0 and
Thunderbolt 2.0,
the
the manual overhaul.
yeah overhaul. Oh well, I guess this is kind of a fun thing too, because I'm guessing we can also get to the Belladonna, your newest project right now.
Oh yeah, that fucker.
Well,
Holy shit.
at
I have
least
it right here.
yeah. So the one thing I always one thing I really kind of don't like doing too much is kind of just worrying too much about it was the it was after the FNS 9 or the FNS or 40. It was a fantastic, like, it's a great gun. I think Vin did a really good job on it. But the issue, like,
Yeah,
or him and some, I forgot who the other guy was named. The other
I
guy's
can't
name
remember
was,
his name either.
but those two worked really, really hard on it. They made a really good frame and everything. Of course, when the information came out, hell, when PSR made his video about it, that thing sold out within seconds.
I know. I was lucky to get a fucking a kit. I saw it was like 150. I was like, holy shit! I give a pistol for 150 fucking bucks.
Well, yeah, like
Fuck yeah!
well, I mean, it is, of course, if you were able to pick it up for that much, that was an incredible deal. And I remember even too, like, Finn was like going on Twitter telling people like, "Hey guys, don't buy it for 400." Like,
Oh, I know, because they fucking started
they
scalping
started
that shit.
scalping that shit
Holy fuck!
immediately. Yeah, and I think or it was on was it or Printed General? He did his Odyssey stream, and he actually had Chairman Juan on the stream too. Chairman Juan said his reason why he does all the stippling stuff on Glocks is because, I mean, the Glock aftermarket is just massive. Like you can at least expect people to touch it. Like with Glocks, you can just, or you can at least guarantee people will be able to use it. And that's kind of the one.
Right?
Like that's
Yeah.
same thing with like your, or at least with what you do with the AR-15. Like that, I would assume that's kind of like similar to like a Glock thing, where it's just, at least in the U.S.
There's so much fucking shit you can
Yeah,
get for
you
Anthony,
can
and
just
it's
build your.
so cheap. Oh my lord!
There's so much after.
PSA alone makes us like anybody can own an AR-15 for like $300.
I mean, like, yeah, so, like, I mean, Glock, there's constantly so much aftermarket stuff where, like, yeah, great, you'll always be able to make a Glock, or you'll always be able to make a Glock at some point, even if it's like the printed Glock stuff. I think that's going to stay for a while, and at least same with the AR-15. Like the AR-15s, that's going to stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything else afterwards, like that's when you start getting to like you're getting into like niche, or like, oh well, police buyback stuff, like the RP9 barrel. Did you ever get an RP9 barrel, by the way?
No, I
Those
don't
were
even know what that is.
well, see, the RP9 was a Remington like pistol that I don't think really, Remington went out of business, right?
They did?
Yeah. Well,
What?
the ammo company is still, I think Remington Ammo still I don't know well enough myself, but the Remington or RP9 barrel at some point for like around like December last year, it was $10, and it's a
Oh
fantastic.
shit! Look at that. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. $10.
It was
Oh my god.
$10. I bought a I bought a barrel. I bought a couple of those barrels for $10, and I was like, I don't need more. I don't need more. After that, they like, because for fuck, like $10 for a barrel, that's ridiculous. Even for like ECM stuff, like the startup, like you're beating up the startup cost for that shit. Like a $10 barrel is just an incredible good deal. But the issue then is, okay, well, when those barrels start wearing out because they're not making anymore, well, don't buy an RP9 barrel, by the way. Like now, I think like they're usually going for either like 70 or 80. It's buy a Glock barrel at that point. But at some point, like around that point, like they were an incredible deal. The issue is then, yeah, you get into the scarcity thing, and then, well, after if you missed it, then you kind of missed it. There's nothing else you can do about it. I I'm not sure. Is that kind of like what do you think about, like, I guess, like newer like, I guess, printed guns and stuff, like the different
So
frames?
my philosophy on printed guns has always been I want something that's, if I'm making it, it's either readily available, super easy to get. AR-15 shit. That's cut and dry. You basically get one as soon as you become a U.S. citizen.
Pretty much.
So yeah, easy to obtain. Not that hard to assemble. The parts are not hard to assemble. I always wanted shit that was really easy to obtain. I guess it wasn't on the scale of the FCG, you know what I mean? Where it was like, oh shit, you gotta weld, and you gotta ECM your barrel in your
ECM is
garage
not
or
that
in your
hard.
closet. Well, I know it's not hard, but it's like I didn't want it to be like the difficulty to be too high. I wanted to be like, okay, you get your upper, you get your LPK, and you get some bolts, and you screw them together, and you're good to go. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, that's like the Mac. I mean, basically, it uses an AR-15 lower parts kit. Like, I mean, everything.
Oh yeah, I know the Mac Day is fucking great.
Everything
So
basically is an AR-15 lower parts kit.
it's just so magical. You can use it in everything.
Pretty much,
But
yeah.
that was always my philosophy was if I'm gonna make something, I want it to be either really easy to obtain the parts or it doesn't need the part at all. Like we
Right.
can just print it.
You still
You
there?
still there?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I hear it. Okay, good. Yep. So that was really my main philosophy in making designs was making sure everybody could get it, and it wasn't like some niche thing like, oh hey dude, this one guy in fucking Utah makes this part. Go get it before it sells out, and only 8 of you can have it. I wanted shit that people could enjoy, and then I was always going to be around.
Right.
So yeah, that was basically it.
I mean, it makes perfect sense too. Like that's kind of my main thing too. It's like I don't want like I like the high. I have the high power right now, the high power frame, and that thing is fantastic. But I mean, it's a little bit harder. I at least want to try to. Like, the nice thing about the Mac stuff is that they're really MAF and Velocity Armors. Those guys are also making Mac 11 kits as well. So
Yeah.
those are still coming out. Granted, they sell out within seconds. Like immediately, they sell out. But like at least there's still new ones coming out. Like I think the Tech 9. Did you ever pick up a Tech 9? It seems like you've been here
Right.
for a while, right?
The Ghetto Blaster.
Yeah, the good old
Way back in the day when I first started, when I was looking at prints to do, I looked at that one, but it didn't really pop my eye. Like I didn't really want to do it, so I never printed it.
I mean, like if I could have picked up one of the Ghetto Blasters, I would have definitely. I mean, what was it? I
Yeah.
think Pew once mentioned too. Like High Point kits used to cost like $30.
Yeah, and then they still won't fucking make parts kit for us,
Well, I
even
mean,
though we begged for them on Twitter to do it.
I mean, I guess for
We're
High
like,
Points,
hey,
they're
we have
basically
money for you that you can have right now. Just make a parts kit, please.
Well, that's when we get to the issue of like, yeah, I guess like, High Point would realize that like, well, then no one's just gonna buy. They're just gonna buy the parts kits for like $20. They're not gonna make any money from that shit. Granted, I mean,
Depends on the demand.
yeah, and then you get to the point of like, okay, great, a high power or High Point kit costs like $120. A High Point
Yeah,
itself
I could
costs like
buy a
150. Like, okay, well, hey, I mean, on the benefit of the printed High Point, like the low point, I think you got to pick a tinny rail on the bottom. Great, that's already an upgrade. But hey,
Yeah, I know, right?
like that's kind of my main thing, at least with printed stuff, is at least for right now. Like, it's just
Yeah,
the biggest things are AR-15, Glock stuff, and then like the stuff like I think the Mod 9, the FGC 9. Those are basically stuff that you can make on your own. Besides that, if you're gonna
yeah,
build like buy frames and stuff and kits, AR-15 and the Glock are pretty much the biggest things you're gonna want.
yeah. Like, as cool as it would be to make like a P90 frame, where are you going to get the fucking parts for it?
Well, I mean,
And how many people are going to be able to, one, afford the parts, or two, obtain them, because they're all going to be sold out as soon as any kind of beta goes into effect. There's going to be like 10 parts kits in the entire fucking United States that gets sold.
well, yeah, I mean, ever since the FNS 40, like I think yes, or Vin basically kind of tries to keep it as much as on the download too. I think he mentioned as well. Like same like ever since then, like that
Oh yeah, that
alone.
fucking avalanche of people buying parts kits just because it was so cheap.
Yeah, blame PSR for that one. Him being such a great guy. But yeah, no, it was. By the way, I love PSR. He's great, but I mean, I think that's his first million view video too. So like that, of course, like with that much popularity, you're gonna get a ridiculous amount of people getting that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it just makes more sense. At least if you're gonna make something, at least make sure people can use it. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that goes to the fun little thing of what you're designing right now, right? The Belladonna.
Oh, so the Belladonna was another cabin fever fucking fever dream that I came up with. I was just like, I'm stuck. I just had my son, right? We just had our son 3 weeks ago.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And I was stuck at home on leave. And I didn't really have anything to do besides change fucking diapers and give my son milk and formula. And so I was like, what if I work on something? And so I remember putting out a tweet, because everything's a blur right now. I remember putting out a tweet and be like, hey, what's like a good, or no, I did an AMA. They did like an Ask Me Anything like one night, and I was like, here, ask me anything. People were like, well, what's some ideas you've had like in the past that you never worked on? Oh God. I don't think it's in my media. I don't remember posting a picture with it.
But
you can always scroll back. Yeah, you can get the picture.
I got it. Don't worry.
So
Time will catch up.
yeah. So then I was like, well, what if we work on like a single shot? And I always wanted to work on a single shot kind of style gun, but I never really knew what like the limit of printed barrels, because I wanted to do a printed barrel at first was. And I remember I even telling you a long time ago that like really the lowest pressure round that we think we can probably handle with a printed barrel is 38 special, just because it's like so fucking low in pressure. It's like 17,000, I think, compared to like 22, I guess. So I was like, okay, that's a good starting point. We can work with 38 special. I'll just make a fucking massive fucking barrel and a massive chamber, and we'll go from there. And then somebody hit me up, was like, hey, well, do you think you can incorporate this? And it was a 20 gauge adapter, a metal adapter that takes 38 special. And I was like, well, holy shit, there's our fucking chamber. We can just hammer that into our fucking frame. We don't have to worry about it cracking frame. All we have to worry about past that point is the pressure inside the barrel. But the barrel's already fucking huge. Obviously, it's not tested yet, but
we're gonna test
from
it
there,
soon.
exactly, it's almost done. I'm gonna work on bracing that breech, but anyway, that is really early on. First thing I did, because I wanted to start printing while I was still on leave because these are so huge, was I finished the barrel. So it's an integrally suppressed. God, I can't say that fucking word. It's an integrally still can't say it. It's suppressed.
Integrally.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little bit harder word. I think I'm pulling up an
so
image
the whole barrel is suppressed. Basically, it can be. There's expansion chambers built into the barrel shroud, and you can insert either baffles, which already exist. They're KCADs and they're on catalog, or you can insert a rifled barrel that goes inside of that. You can see it right there. And basically, that makes it so you don't have to file a Form 1.
So, I mean, you were also mentioning, too, at some point beforehand, was that, what if we were to add a little bit of vents towards that? We could make this into a break, right?
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday. We could make it so that instead of it being expansion chamber, these are just breaks. They vent out. They vent all the gas out.
You're right. Yeah. Instead, it just cut out the holes.
Yeah, exactly, Teddy. A barrel of 1 kilo. Dude, this is like 2 kilograms at this point. The whole thing is like taking up 2 spools.
Of course, this is. I mean, I personally love the idea of a Destiny weapon. It looks like a gun from Destiny. By the way, you're mentioning the 20 gauge shell to 38. Or I'm pulling that up actually right now. I guess you posted it earlier too.
I can link it.
Yeah, no, you already you already posted actually on Twitter. Actually, believe it or not, like
right above it. If you want to get the link directly to it, it's right there. Anyway, yeah. So I was like, oh, holy shit! This $25 fucking part, $25 little fucking adapter, and we can make it so that we never have to worry about our chamber breaking. And okay.
I think
it was so early.
Yeah, no, I guess maybe too, because I'm wondering, I'm assuming as well, maybe of course, we would never ever recommend anyone breaking any sort of laws. Of course, that's a terrible idea. But like, let's say
never.
Let's say like you live in Europe or something. Like you live in Europe and you're not allowed to own this. Could this possibly be incorporated in anything? Can you? First off, do we even know if we can get stuff in Europe to begin with? For like flares or I don't know what else, whatever is proper and good in Europe.
I don't see why they couldn't get this shit. I mean, we can it takes an AR fire control group, which you can print. So all you have to get past that is springs.
In theory.
And it uses all the springs from a AR LPK. I just incorporated that into the design. I don't want to make it so that people were going around getting these weird ass springs for the mechanisms. It just uses the springs you can get when you buy an LPK. So that's nice. The only other thing that it uses past that is the adapter, and it'll soon use probably a what's it called? It's a fucking steel angle plate that's going to go around the breech.
Okay, yeah, you sent me that one. I'm curious to see how that one actually does end up too myself. But also, yeah, I just passed up too. You also showed the 22.
Joestar, we didn't even know this existed until like last week.
Oh no, yeah, I would have.
This shit would be used in so much stuff if we knew about this a year ago. If we knew these fucking 20 gauge adapters or the 12 gauge adapters exist, holy shit!
So-
A rifled adapter, that'd be
So-
great.
So 000 Meat, by the way, I'm not sure if you know what he or who he is. Or he's working on, or him, and I think is it Tommy or is it Tony? I'm trying to remember exactly the name. But he's also working on this. You ever see the Assault Dolphin 9?
The assault dolphin? No, I have not.
Oh God. Okay, I'll have to show you that one later. But basically, it's another 3D printed rifle or gun or cosplay. What am I saying? Oh goodness gracious! Perhaps I've drinking too much. It's a cosplay device, of course. But he too is also working on something as well. Um, I'll have to send you pictures of that one. I don't have it right now on the top of my hand. I actually have it on my other computer. But he's also working on something similar to that. But
I mentioned a slam fire 9mm. Then you can do a slam fire 45.
Yeah, that's a
Holy
thing.
shit! You can put the fucking boomers in their graves. Here's 2 pipes.
Yeah,
Holy
that's.
fuck.
I mean, those are great.
Okay, someone's saying they love the assault dolphin. Now I have to. Is it gonna come up if I Google this?
It's on Rocket Chat. It's one of the betas, I think.
Okay, googling that was a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, you're not gonna get. If I remember correctly, one of the original names was something with like it was basically supposed to be MLP something, so you were gonna get basically horrible things.
And I got articles of can dolphins commit rape by Vice and whatever. So it's like, okay,
The purpose was to
gonna
mess
end
with
that.
feds. The purpose was to mess with feds, if I remember correctly. Actually, it was the MLP or designation was solely to have feds search up MLP, in which I told him, hey, if a normal person wanted to find this thing, they're going to also have to search up MLP. Do you want that?
Hey, I'm bringing up the pictures of the assault dolphin now.
But if I remember correctly,
What is this?
Double O Meat. He's also one.
Shit! Is it a fire control group?
I think it used or. I remember they were at some point using what was it they were using not the rare breed, of course. It was a different printed possible design that's inspired not the exact same thing, of course. These are 2 completely different things that just seem to be very similar.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, it was one of those. It used a special magazine. It's kind of similar to a P90 actually. It's a
oh fuck, that guy?
Yeah, that's the one. They use barrel blanks as well. It's a really interesting design. I just have
I remember seeing that. Okay, yeah, I've been watching that. Being made on Twitter.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting design. But you're mentioning something about a P90 type of thing. Yeah, basically, that's one of the ones actually.
Yeah, a P90, but with no actual P90 parts.
Right. Yeah. So affordable. Correct. Right. Where were we?
I just wish 5.7 wasn't so fucking expensive.
Bro, trust me, I know. It's one of those. It's one of those guns where I really want, but dear God, the
My
ammo.
favorite copy pasta is the guy that mag dumps the mugger with his 5.7. He's like, well, if I just gave my wallet, it would be cheaper.
I think I posted that one, and Hush fucking saved it and made it his pinned tweet. Fuck, actually, let me check.
Oh fuck, I could just give him my wallet.
Yeah, actually, do I still have it? Sis and Hush. I think he still has it actually. Oh crap. Sis and Hush. I'm pretty sure he has it as a pinned tweet. Yeah, he does.
God bless that crack addict. I love him.
He's our crack addict, okay?
I know. So special.
But yeah, it's one of those. So either way, yeah, we were talking about making guns reasonable for people. Sorry for guys. I'm assuming if people are watching this on a replay, because I'm going to leave this up. Yeah, sorry for rambling on. But if we're going to assume this is going to work well, hopefully, I guess, if anything, 38 Special is basically 9mm, right?
No, it's a little tiny bit thinner.
A tiny bit thinner. So I guess maybe
it's more akin to 38 ACP.
Okay.
Or 388 ACP. Sorry.
I'm wondering if you can ACM it, but
it's straight. Well, as far as I know. So
okay.
Probably.
Okay, so I'm just assuming maybe you can do that.
All the 38 rounds are straight weld. So 357, 38 Special, 380 ACP. And it's surprising to me that 380 ACP is higher pressure than 38 Special. I don't know how the fuck that fucking game works. But whatever.
Yeah,
I thought 338 ACP would be an easier round to put into a printed barrel just because it's so fucking small.
right. No,
But
yeah.
what fucking ever.
Isn't that what the Scorpion, like, or one of the original, like the OG Scorpion is?
OG Scorpion, like the original.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I think one of the Ivan's one of his first ones. I think I remember was the Scorpion, right? PSR has that.
Yeah. The VZ whatever.
Yeah, the VZ.
Oh shit! It does take 380 ACP. Holy shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. It's.
I don't know too much about that, so it's.
Well, I mean, I don't own one either. I just know PSR has one too. But yeah, if I remember correctly, like the whole point too is like if you can that one full auto is a little bit easier to handle than like 9mm or something. Of course, I don't own it myself either, so I can't tell you. But
full auto, we would never advocate for full automatic.
Of
fire.
course not.
Okay?
We are a cosplay.
We abide by
yeah.
the NFA. Okay.
We love the ATF.
We love the ATF.
We love our we love our federal agents. We love
My dog is wearing her tannerite vest right now, so
good. He's a good boy. Okay.
good.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So so the Belladonna, it basically uses 38 special, right?
Yep. Basically, I mean, technically, I'm thinking in theory we can put different rounds to it since we have the adapter. I just don't know if the barrel is going to be able to handle it. So I'm going to be testing it with 38 special. I have a 9mm adapter as well to test the strength of the barrel. But I'm assuming we should be able to put 38 special and maybe even 45 because 45 is also surprisingly low pressure. It just has a shitload of kickback. So
yeah,
that's why I'm going to want to reinforce that breach.
It's God's chosen caliber after all. But I mean, yeah,
It is. I know it is. The boomers were right there.
Yeah, it has pure stopping power. But I mean, so what I like about it too is the lever action type of a thing. It's a single shot, and it's going to be pretty much mostly just it's going to be pretty much printed, right?
Yep, almost entirely printed.
And
aside from the LPK and the
I guess,
barrel.
but you could technically, in theory, print also the lower parts good too. But
Yep,
I guess
print that too. Yeah, save for the springs.
Yeah. I remember someone also mentioning to me too that was possible year. I don't know, of course, but they were saying something about how 38 was more common over there, possible other places too. Or
38 goes back. Oh God, it goes back to the fucking 1900s. It's just a really old round, and it's a really popular round with revolvers. So I wouldn't be surprised that it's widely available.
Well, yeah, and I mean, actually my brother has one of the he has like an older like Saturday Night Special, like 38 special revolver. Pretty, it's not bad. And I really want I want a Saturday Night Special myself too. I too want like a really cheap revolver. But hey, I guess I can deal with it. One of these days I'll get one. But now you also have the I'm actually scrolling through it right now. So first off, how many M3 screws are we going to get? And could we, for RK Spookyware in here, is he going to be able to make any kits from this too? But
absolutely. I've been making the entire model. Kind of been learning from my past mistakes, I guess. Not really mistakes, just like my past design ways I design things. I've just been adding all of the screws to the design as I go, so that I can make a parts list right off the bat as soon as it's ready to go. That's 1-to-1.
Okay.
So right now it's not too bad. It's actually a lot of short screws, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 big screws. But you can get those big screws from a single pack, or from the Cambodian guy. You know, our favorite RK.
Okay, of course.
But it's not going to be too bad. It's not going to be that much worse than a Firebolt kit. And obviously, I'll make it. I'm going to try to find to make that breech brace, that bracket, and make sure that that's readily available. That's something that's easy to obtain.
And you also added, if I remember correctly too, I'm right now showing the image of it. You also added the iron sights as well.
Yep, those are built into the frame, and I zeroed them in the model at 25 yards. I don't imagine it being more accurate with iron sights that are printed on a printed assembly. You're going to get better than 25 yards of range that are, better than a dinner plate's worth of fucking grouping.
You're really shooting yourself too short. Are you sure you can't hit 1,000 yards at least?
Oh yeah. Let me just fucking account for the fucking spin of the earth.
Yeah, just had a couple. Just gotta aim a little bit higher. Yeah, just gotta incorporate the bullet drop a little bit. But hey, I will say it's probably a smart idea actually. But I see the Picatinny
Yeah,
rail,
25 felt good. That's pretty decent.
and
So
let me see if I scroll up too. I remember you also added a bandolier as well.
yep, that was
Yeah.
like one of the more recent photos. I added a printed attachable bandolier that I will be making depending on on the rounds that survive.
Of course,
I will
yeah.
be making bandoliers for it, so you can just slap them right onto the end the desk cover, and I'll probably also make it so they bolt onto the stock as well, the folding stock.
And the more I think about this too, like I guess this would kind of take. I mean, when I think about it, the bigger the action. This is kind of like a fully printed gun, right?
Yes, more or less.
So right now you're basically.
It's akin to the FCG in terms of how much is printed and how much is,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess hardware.
So we can basically.
Even
move
though
the
this
goalposts.
hardware, you're not fucking rifling yourself. It's just you pay $20 and yeah, you have a fucking adapter.
I mean, hey, if you live in Europe and you don't have the whole. Hey, I didn't. I just basically smoothbored a less than 16-inch barrel rifle. I don't want a short barrel shotgun type of a thing. Who cares really, right?
Oh god, please, people don't put actual 20 gauge rounds in this, okay? I really don't. I don't want that to be the second negligent discharge of the 3D printing community of a fucking moron puts 20 gauge shell in plastic and fires.
Yeah. Is Jeff Rodriguez still here? I mean, he's the one that makes the shotgun, right? But
yeah, I know, right? I'm sure he'd know.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But yeah, so basically, I mean, the bigger thing is like right now you're basically. I mean, I would say if you're, it seems almost very similar to your or the song. Like you're basically competing against the Songbird and then the whole of course, the Liberator, the one that everyone.
Yeah, this
remembers.
is like a songbird on steroids.
A songbird that I guess that's. I mean, I personally like the way it looks as well myself. I too really like the cool futuristic design to it.
Yeah, which is also, believe it or not, just more material reduction.
Well, yeah, I mean, you also, in theory,
Everywhere I'm going, I'm just like, where can I shave off material? Oh, we don't need it here.
I mean, of course, if you pay your wonderful tax stamp, you too can also get the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you pay your tax stamp, you can suppress your belladonna.
Of course, yeah, no, I would. Of course, we would never.
Even though it's built into the frame, you literally have to print it that way.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, I mean, of course, you be careful. I mean, last thing we're going to recommend people to do is to break any laws that they shouldn't, because that's of course not what we want here. We respect all the laws. We respect the CDC. We respect everything that's whatever YouTube says we should respect.
I only listen to Joe Biden and the CDC for my gun politics. Okay,
I'm glad to hear that because
we're in an epidemic of gun violence. Okay,
I listen to the fact checkers myself as well too. I'm glad to hear we both can agree
the
there.
fact checkers, my favorite people on earth.
The bestest of all.
I got my degree in the wrong field. I should have gotten it in fact checking.
I agree. But so if you ever want, I mean, hell, if I remember correctly, isn't there the most recent Liberator from the catalog one of the suppressed ones too?
Probably. I remember they made an adapter for it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna make a Liberator at that point, who's to say?
If you get one shot on a thing, it better be fucking quiet.
Yeah, you fucking. If I remember correctly too, I think the Liberator was Cody shot it once, but it was really never tested past. It's more like a legacy thing.
It really is. I think the Liberator actually maxed out at 380 ACP. Which is odd. But I think it's because it has such a short it's such a short round, and the barrel for it is also short. It was just literally just to contain.
I mean, one of the things I always feel comfortable with, telling people oh yeah, try the FGC9, try all these other rifles, because these are the FGC9. I know for the Mark II they had well over 1,000 rounds going through for the beta test and everything. The Liberator is kind of just more of it kind of just happened.
It was like a proof of concept. Hey, we can do it. Sure, it'll blow up, but it works.
I think one of the more I think I remember hearing Pew once mention it. It was it's a 67% chance it might blow up in your hand. Yeah, it's I wouldn't want to do it. But hey, I mean, if this is more, I mean, I think the Songbird was a better. The Songbird's better than the Liberator, if I remember
It was
correctly.
a better, yeah, it was a better. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, fuck, I'm thinking of the word. Like the way it was done, it was better design. So it was like an actual. It was a printed trigger group with the easy to use like rubber band trigger, I guess. A removable barrel insert that you could just put your rounds into and then swap out, so you could just print more barrels if you wanted to. Yeah, that was the Songbird was great.
I mean, I've never tested the Songbird myself, really.
Oh, I have, and I've also suppressed a Songbird.
In theory, right?
In theory, yeah, I have a tag stamp for it. Don't worry.
Of course. Okay, I'm glad. Thank goodness. Oh, you almost had me there. But okay, I personally is Songbird 22 or is it 38?
22.
Okay, I want to say I thought it was also 38.
There's no way that thing is way too small for 38.
Okay, well, either way, I mean it's a printed barrel as well, right? Well,
Yep, everything on the Songbird's printed.
yeah. Well, this is like rubber bands, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, those are the ones I always remember. People like, if I were to ever actually like test a fully printed like gun, it'd definitely be the Songbird. I don't want to try the Liberator.
Oh yeah, I fired the thing in my house into my yard.
Oh, okay.
just because I was testing out the totally legitimate quieting feature.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just that's at least the Songbird, if I remember correctly. At least it looks it seems to be like a safer design.
Oh,
But
yeah. I there's no issue with that thing.
but you, I mean, so you're basically kind of like starting completely, kind of just you're guessing, you're pretty much on like kind of uncharted territory for your Belladonna, right? Or you
Yeah, I don't know of any frame that have been in our community that's been made with 38 special, and I'm going off of the fact that it's such a low pressure round, surprisingly, as the fact that I'm pretty positive that printed frame, especially the one as big as the one I made, can handle it.
because I'm trying to find the one exactly. Because I remember you also have like a little bit of a firing pin where you're basically asking, hey, how far does the firing pin need to go?
Yeah, so if you look at that one tweet you had up that had the fire control tower.
Oh goodness gracious! Give me a second.
You're
To
good.
find that.
Just scroll. Just keep scrolling.
Is it beyond the picture of? Well,
It's wait. You go other way.
Okay, well, you got to give me a second.
You're
keep
good.
in mind,
I can't. I'm a little behind.
yeah, you're a little bit behind right now. I'm gonna leave it sitting here for a second. We have the nice Japanese man pushing his gleaming glasses in front of his face.
Oh yeah, keep going now.
Give it a second. I think it's good. It's right now timing itself up.
I can see that. So
okay, so scroll up.
Waiting for it to scroll.
I'm scrolling up very slowly, and we have 02's feet. I'm gonna scroll down just a little bit.
Keep down. It's way below 02's feet.
Okay. I think I'll find it. But eventually,
you looked at it earlier.
I feel like I did actually.
Yeah, you had it up earlier.
But essentially, you're saying about how you need to get the exact firing pin group. That is also something I want to mention to people too that ever built the FGC9 as well. The firing pin, yeah, it's a little bit of a pain. You want to
I know, and obviously I'm going off of something. I'm just winging it. I have no idea if this will work until I test it. Oh, you passed it. Damn, you had it.
Oh, okay. Is it above the Thunderbolt that you had?
You just look for the hammer. Look for the hammer. You'll see it. The hammer is black and the nail is kind of a gray. And it's a shot of it underneath the.
Is it underneath the Doom guy?
It's above the Doom guy.
Above the Doom guy.
Yep.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so anyway, so my plan was I need something that can take like a nail or a screw and is just barely long enough to reach the primer once it's engaged by the hammer, right?
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, this thing needs to be reset by a spring. Where do we get springs? LPK. So I opted to go with the bolt catch spring because it's small enough in form that it fits right around a nail or a screw of that size. And that is what I use to reset the basically the striker, I guess. So that little square right on the tip of the hammer there is the striker that houses the nail or the screw, and it only protrudes out about a millimeter when it's fully engaged.
Okay.
Yep. So once it's straight, it just hits the primer, and then the spring resets it back, and then it's good to go. And then you're good to open it up and reset the round and take out the empty casing.
Okay. And of course, I think I mentioned this before. We're assuming the back blast is gonna be fine, or it's gonna be able to handle the back blast.
So I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, it might handle 380 380 special. But what about the other one? And so if we're already going to do a belladonna that can handle other rounds like 45, right? We're going to need a breech face that can handle the back pressure, the blowback. So my plan right now is I'm going to go to hardware store and look at some what are these fucking things called?
At least some sort of like
It's
basic
some like fucking
metal
angle plates, I guess, right? And I'm just gonna see which ones I can look at and then design around the plates so that the firing pin goes through the plate, and then the plate bolts around the sides of that fire control tower right there you're looking at.
And for of course for cosplay, this is just gonna be like it's gonna be really nice for it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Just had to throw that in
Yeah.
there, of course. But
So basically, I just want to distribute the blowback forces along the frame, and I'm hoping this is what will do it.
I mean, the biggest thing too. Let's assume. What do we expect if the what's the worst catastrophic? I guess.
There's two failure points for this thing. One's going to be in the barrel. So
Okay.
if there's too much pressure for a printed barrel, it'll probably just crack and it'll find a way to let all that gas out somewhere. It's most likely going to vent gas either A, between the points where they bolt together, or B, it'll go into the expansion. It'll go into the expansion. What that's called? Expansion something.
Expansion ports or
But not ports. But they're like the suppressor ports, I guess, whatever they're called. The expansion holes. Suppressor is a strong word. Not the baffles, because this is just with a printed barrel. But
Right.
if it does crack the printed barrel and gets into the expansion slots, I guess it might crack the outer shroud and let the air out that way. That would be like worst case, right?
Right.
The other worst case is the blowback from the round itself cracks the fire control tower. I don't expect it to break through the fire control tower, but just because the dust cover completely hugs that fire control tower, so all of the forces should be sent back into the frame. But I wouldn't doubt that it would eventually crack the fire control tower just because the forces are they're so contained over a small surface area.
Right.
So yeah, that's the main 2 points I think it would fail.
I mean, the biggest thing is, are we going to have to worry about, let's say a kid, a kid prints one for 0% infill and puts it against their leg, I guess. It's not going to explode and shoot them, right? Or is it going to blow up?
It will not blow up.
That's, I think, the biggest thing.
The adapter is gonna handle the pressure, the initial pressure of the round.
Okay.
So the worst you're gonna get is just a shitload of gas escaping and possibly cracking the barrel, and then you'll maybe have to deal with a cracked fire control area. But I 100% don't see this thing like catastrophically failing.
And let's say, of course, if you make this into like a muzzle brake, and if you were to vent out the pressure instead of let's say keeping it closed, possibly causing a suppressor-like effect to it, would this actually would this help with some of the pressure, right? Or would this make this at least a little bit
Watch
safer?
the fire engine being launched by the driver.
What
It shouldn't. It's fully being engaged for like a fucking millisecond, then it's going back to hiding inside of that fire control tower. The firing pin does not protrude outside of the fire control tower until it's engaged. So it shouldn't get launched. And it's also gonna have the fucking hammer behind it too. So it would have to move the hammer backwards before that thing would get going.
You're basically doing the hole punch press math for what I think. That's just me using my ballpark. I popped
a lot of primers.
Yeah, I mean, I've also destroyed a lot of mine myself from messing around with different types of firing pins. Really, the worst that I will say, exploded primers for the FGC9. It basically just it threw the bolt all the way back and like locked it in place, which is probably not a good thing. But hey, of course, like this is it's better than like an out of battery or something. It's basically like, oh, the bolt basically just got thrown so far back that it locked itself instead of actually going back forward. Okay, great. Let me just hit the side of the bolt so the bolt finally moves back down.
Yeah. Right now, I'm just going with like minimalism for the fire control group, and in terms of how much this thing engages the striker, and then maximizing, at least for now, maximizing the frame so I can maximize my strength.
So we can, of course, make the most realistic cosplay prop, of course.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Yeah. Okay. So
opted for a 5D box now.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I like the idea of it. It's a very, I mean, I don't even know, are there really any other lever action, break action designs right now?
No, not that I know of.
I don't think really either myself.
Everyone uses either some kind of like revolver action, or they just straight go up to printing a receiver for a known firearm.
Well, the Maverick, if I remember correctly, which is like the revolver one, that one's like, I think that uses
Exactly.
20, that uses 22 like short, which is
like
a step above, like a step above like
BB guns.
BB gun, yeah. It's like you're getting to the point of using nail gun blanks and like putting BBs in front of it, which is the Brazilian, or like everywhere else. That's not. If you have trouble getting ammo, that's a possibility. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But yeah, like, I mean, this is a lot different.
Yeah, this is a very unique design, and I also like the fact that it uses the Firebolts for assembly to an extent. That really helped with the design fires. Like, oh, how do I design a fucking AR-15 fire control group to house it around? Oh, I'll just take the one I already own.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you already have it designed at that point, then what's the point? Exactly, right. So, I mean, this is at least this design. So, what are you expecting to do with it at this point? Like, what's your goal with this?
My goal with this, when I first kind of dreamt it up, was just like, I really want like a solid printed marksman rifle, I guess. One that you can like slap a scope on it if you want to, and you can go out like plinking, with it with a decent round, not just 22. So it was something that I thought would be like, well, this is going to be cool. You can have your break action printed gun that isn't like, it's really relatively cheap to build and is strong. I guess it's going to have a lot of longevity, is what I'm planning on, at least. And it's easier to fix, I guess, too.
Well, yeah.
But past that, I was just like something I was just doing for fun.
And I see someone right now, actually, Darkness343. Now, this person gave me my first ever super chat, which by all means, I have to give them extra credit.
Way to fucking go! Darkness.
I mean, as a good grifter as I can be,
super chats, the super berries.
Yeah, the good old super berries. I gotta be the grifter extraordinaire here. Anyone thinking of doing what would Stoner do for 7.62 by 39 lower? I don't think Stoner would want that as a lower.
Is he talking about a mutant lower?
I think he's talking about a mutant lower.
So first of all, 7629 is banned. So we're in a little bit of a niche area right now where we can't get the ammo for that kind of gun.
Yeah, so you actually did design the AR.
I started it. Yeah, I started the design for the mutant lower, the AR-47, basically.
And I too was going to work on one too. I was about to buy an upper myself as well, and then.
And it got banned. Like within good old Biden.
Yeah, like literally, I think I mentioned it on Twitter at 1.2, and like 2 days afterwards, like right before I was about to buy one, there was a good deal on one as well. Then Biden comes out with the thing saying, "Yeah, I'm basically we're gonna ban it because someone got killed, or the journalist got killed like 3 years ago. We got to take stand." Yes, it was.
Fucking kidding me.
I am not joking. That is literally why. But yeah,
I love virtue signaling.
Well, hey, I mean, good old Darkness343 gave me money, and I'm going to give him a true answer and my true feelings of all of this. But yes.
So to answer your question from my end, Darkness, I am very close to getting a AR-47 lower going. I was gonna get pictures because I need pictures of the magazine well of an AR and basically an MK47 lower because I don't know how the magazine well works. That's the only thing I really need. Everything else is modeled. So as soon as I get Excalibur kits, I don't know what that is. It's an Excalibur kit. I don't know.
Either way.
Yeah, everything else is done, but I just need the magazine well and how the magazine attaches to the lower. After that, it's good to print and start testing.
But yeah. Okay, I mean, 'cause I remember you two were also working on that, but I'm assuming as well, for most people, anything that's like 7.63, anything that's basically AK or Russian aim has pretty much been put on the back burner.
What is Excalibur kits? I'm so curious now.
I'm
Oh shit! Survival rifle gauge adapters.
Oh, is that basically what you're doing right?
Yeah, kind of, but they look longer. What are they?
Oh, could it be something to help?
22, 38 special, 57, 9, 45, and 410 shotgun.
I actually do have some. Do they have a? What is the other
Jesus Christ! And they have 223 and 308.
one? Well, looks like
No wonder they're fucking huge.
It sounds like someone just got a nice little kit to the Belladonna, right?
Yeah, but how expensive are they?
What's a real
Deals.
question?
Let's look at the deals.
Well, while I do that, I'm going to keep looking through these things as well too,
Oh,
because I'm going to look through your pictures because you show your hinge and there's some nice, attractive anime girls as well too, and then we have you pushing down the things and everything. Some M3 looking screws.
Why can I even buy this?
Bolt
Who's ever gonna
hinges.
buy it?
And let's go Brandon and other fun things too.
Expensive, yeah, fully rifled. Oh, the adapter we have is actually rifled too. It's like 2 inches of rifling.
Well, I mean,
the entire adapter is like 3 inches long.
Okay.
So you do get a little bit of spin out of it, but it's nothing like the one this thing. Holy shit!
Is it at least something worth looking at?
I don't even see a way of buying it. It looks like it's just a concept.
Huh. Well, I mean,
But
I think
it looks cool.
We could probably ECM things too as well if we really want to as well.
Yeah, we have that. We have that option. Always have that option.
I mean, just give me the word, and I guess I could probably do it for you. But hey, I will say, I mean, the fact that you can just buy a shell, like a shotgun shell for this, is kind of pretty nice.
Let's wait some questions from. Yeah, right. I got like 5 more minutes. Can we take like some questions from the chat before I get out of here?
Yeah, of course. No, yeah, by all means. Okay,
all right, chat. Let's see what you got. Ask me anything.
Yeah, chat. By all means, go ahead.
Don't ask me my fucking shoe size. Okay, we don't. Citizen does not need that information.
Are you not 6'3"?
I'm over 6 feet. Okay, I'm not a manlet.
Now, when you say that, you say you're above 6 feet. Are you 5'12"? Or are you just a 5'10" man trying their best to just extend as much?
No, I'm not Ben Shapiro. Don't worry.
Sounds like a little more like a Todd Howard. Oh yeah, I'm 6'2", fucking 5'4".
Who was that guy recently that was like talking about their fucking height and then their actual height came out? Who was it? Fuck. I can't remember.
Whenever De Blasio says shit, I always fucking post.
I think it was Vaush.
Oh god, is Vaush like 5'4" or something, like 5'7" and shit?
Oh, I remember he was talking about. He had a tweet with his height, and then he did the cast with Tim Pool and Charlie Kirk, and then they all stood together for a fucking photo op. I think Charlie Kirk lied about his fucking height too.
I don't deny any. I don't doubt any of these things.
Okay, Jeff. Jeff says, "What are you most excited about in 3D printed Gunland recently?" Ooh, that's a tough one.
Shit, yeah.
We don't have a lot of groundbreaking projects like we did back in the day, like when I first got in. The work in progress. Shit.
I mean, shit. For me, what do I think's most interesting?
Sure. Why don't you give it? Why is
the Cobra 9? I think is the most interesting fucking one. Have you seen? It's Durwood's newest thing. It's a delayed blowback. It's basically a delayed blowback. I get it's a completely unique design in that regard. It's like, I guess, similar to the FGC 9, like Mod 9 type of a thing, where it's
the Cobra 9.
Yeah, it's Durwood, like it's like Durwood's newest. It's pretty much his biggest thing he has.
Let me
If you
see.
if you watch the Vice documentary, actually, believe it or not, the makers match, that was
What
basically
the
his thing.
fuck?
It's not released yet, but that is
Is that metal?
from what I gathered asking, or it seems like I I don't really know much else about it. There's a couple of videos posted about it. I think Mr. Snow has, I'm assuming he has the files for it because he printed one, but we'll see when that one comes up. But basically, that's an open
Okay.
source. It's the most unique looking design I've seen so far.
Yeah, that looks sick. Holy shit.
Yeah, I personally really want to
Nine
try that.
millimeter G17 barrel, AR-15 fire control group. Yep. Block mag, HK push pins,
Oh,
AK-47 mains.
they use that in the mod 9. The AK the push strings or the push pins are really useful actually. It really helps you like disassemble everything quickly. And then the AK spray,
20-ounce bolt. Nice. That looks sweet. Yeah. Okay. I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that. What else was there? What do you need to be let into the hushed beta testing? You just need to be on Rocket Chat. That's where I'm going to host it. So if you're not on Rocket Chat, go make an account, and then when I go live, I'll tweet it out.
Yeah. I mean,
So watch me on Twitter and get in the Rocket Chat.
what is the first gun you put anime? That is a real question. Wait, let's calm ourselves down here. Okay, let's
definitely the Firebolt. It is a in fact, I can give you the one that it is right now. Let me just go find it.
No.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Post it on Twitter too, so I can just quickly pull it up real quick.
All right. Let me just center this real quick so it's nice and front and center. I believe this was a Tifa stencil. I don't remember what Tifa it was, but it was a good one.
Okay.
All right, let me tweet it out.
I chose, what is it? My first anime girl I put on the gun was I believe it was the Pokemon Black and White 2. It is the female trainer you can get. I believe the name is Rose. I'm not sure exactly. I forget.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
But that's the one I chose for mine. I just retweeted as well. Oh, there we go. First titty I put on my gun. I'll retweet that as well. But yes.
I also believe I don't remember. I want to say I made that the standard, but I can't remember.
I believe it is. I think that is actually the standard. Actually, I do think that is correct.
I think I originally went Firebolt 1.0. That was what you got when you printed that side.
Yes, that is actually the culture. I believe that is it is the folder that's labeled cultured, if I remember correctly.
Yep, culture. That's what I named it.
Yes, and I couldn't agree more. And actually, myself.
Not asking the hard questions. Damn right.
I'm very glad Boom Hands is here to really ask the hard questions here too. So, oh goodness gracious!
Darkness.
Darkness 343 with 2 super chats. Okay, great, good job. Allow me to grift. I'm sorry. Okay, what would Stoner do? Is a 3D printed lower design that is an all in stock lower and grip would be cool to see in one large caliber. Well, what is it?
I'm trying to understand that. All in stock?
So if I remember correctly, did you ever watch the what would Stoner thing do with was it in range?
What is that? What was Stoner?
Do you know Forgotten Weapons? Forgotten Weapons
yes.
is Ian. Okay, so yeah,
yeah.
In range is kind of his thing. There's another guy too. His name is Carl. They basically it's both those guys. What would Stoner do was like a series they basically did where they were going over what would Eugene Stoner want like an AR-15 to be like. I was a no gun for a very long time, so I really didn't care too much in all honesty. But I do know one of the big things that came out of that too was I think it's like the KP12 or RK Spookware has it too. It's the fully polymer lower where it's like the lower parts kit or basically the lower and the stock basically all in one.
Yeah.
That was something. I do remember. I don't own one because I haven't had the chance. Also, that's also a fun one too. If you ever want to mention that, the Polymer 80 lowers, like P80 lower for ARs, are dog crap. But the KP12, whatever the actual like real polymer like lower, the one that I know people actually use, that one actually is good. I think it's the KP15 or something. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Uh, I'm trying my best to answer this, of course, because he was obviously just so generous to give $5. Thank you very much, by the way.
To answer Commander Quark's question for a bufferless FGC9, so it looks like he's going for like, what is that? Is that a piston style when it's not using a buffer?
If it's not using a buffer, I would assume it's either piston or 22.
And it's just going to get direct bolt lock. Yeah, you have to have, according to this website, you need to have a 1.7 pound bolt.
I don't think you're getting a 5.56 like direct blowback. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, he wasn't talking 5.56. He was talking 9mm.
I mean 9mm. Then yeah, I guess yeah. Because I do know you can. I mean, of course, if you use like the piston one, like I guess the R18, like you could probably.
Piston. Yeah, I see you, Dynex. Made that just for you.
Yeah, there he is. I mean, it's very useful. I mean, I wish I can.
The
get
man
one
that just mag dumps 1,000 fucking rounds in a day. And
Hey,
like,
I
okay,
mean,
that was fun.
if I had the rounds too, I would do it myself as well.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, I wish I had that kind of money to blow. Must be nice being an accountant.
I mean, hey, he's our accountant, okay? You know, at least he's on our side, all right?
Yeah. Let me just put this in the chat. He's the accountant.
Hey, by the way,
There we go.
I'm gonna need you to help me out too with the taxes after these fucking super chats, okay?
Oh yeah, you're gonna be fucking taxing the ground. That's over $600 right there. Biden wants to know what's going into your account.
Yeah, so don't worry, we're good. Oh goodness gracious, you put too many of the quotations. I won't be bullied for the. Hey, now you're our rich guy, okay? Don't worry, you're the 1% that we like, all right? Okay, so you basically said 5 more minutes.
Yep.
I don't.
Gotta go.
So basically, just give me your send off. What do you want, or what's the final couple things you want to say?
I will say, this community is probably one of the only communities I've ever been in that has like been one that has been like very low on the drama, really tight knit, and absolutely stellar at trading information. I never really had a problem with anybody inside of this community, which is really nice. It's like a first, really. Every community has bad apples, and obviously we've had a couple of things that have happened. I remember way back early this year, I want to say, where we weren't. I think it was our group and RB Cool Yet weren't really conversing. I don't know why, but that seems to have died down. Is that true? I don't really know much about RB Cool Yet.
I mean, I've been way too busy myself.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of things I'm not. I don't. I'm too new myself too. I don't know myself either.
There really hasn't, like I was saying, there's just really hasn't been that much issues in the community. It's just been people working hard and trading information and testing shit out and proving FUDs and gun control pieces of shit wrong. So it's an awesome community to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too.
Yep. I love doing what I do. I love doing it for fun. I love that I have so many people that follow me and like the work that I do. It's awesome.
If I remember correctly, you do also have a Twitch channel too, right?
I don't do anything. It's
I do know you have one though.
I have one, and I did like 2 streams total where I was working on the fucking waffle mag, but I am such a bad streamer, and I'm just really bad at talking to myself when I'm supposed to be imagining an audience behind the screen.
It's easy.
So,
just pretend like you're conversing to people. It's just
too
really
fucking autistic for that shit, man. Just fuck.
You just have to embrace the autism. I believe in you. You can do it.
I need to embrace socialism so I can make 200 fucking grand a month.
Just start talking about eat the rich, and you'll be able to do it. Talk
Eat
about
the rich, and then go watch videos, and then not even watch the video, and just go eat while the video's playing, and then come give your shitty opinion on.
Throw in the age of consent as well. You might be.
You
able
know
to get
what?
It.
That's where the bucks start rolling in. That's where the
when
big
you
bucks
start
start rolling.
getting...
Like, well, we should lower that. That's when you make your first 10 grand.
Exactly. I agree. So yeah, okay. But yeah, your Twitter handle is what again, by the way?
It is not _ spooky guns.
Okay, not underscore.
because it's definitely not another account. It's definitely not. It is an original account. This is my only Twitter account. Don't even worry about it. Twitter, leave me alone.
Great. Yeah, of course. Right. Um, all right. I don't know
In
what to
fact,
say.
you can see it in that picture, so we'll just go with that.
It says not spooky there. I don't know who else it could
It's
possibly.
not. It's not me.
It's not you.
I don't know. I don't know who that fellow is. He retweets. He sends all my work.
He's
like
very
my PR
familiar
guy.
with your thinking, correct? It's a
Yeah,
source.
he's my PR man. Don't
It's a
bully him.
source.
Okay.
It's a source very familiar with your thinking. I completely understand. Okay, so you are you gotta go. It's completely okay. I understand completely. I don't really have much else to say to myself either. So I will say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone that's
Absolutely,
actually
bud.
showed up in the chat. By all means, maybe we can do this again some other time. I'm not sure, but hey, I think we had a lot of fun today, right?
We'll get hushed on here next time, and we'll go watch a debate or something, and take shots and start shooting our legs with 0% info guns.
Correct. We got to take a double check. I'm gonna be honest. Why would you even bother testing a gun if you're not going to use live ammo? Right?
Exactly. You only need one shot if you're good anyway. So if it explodes after that shot, who cares?
I mean, when you put a round in a weapon, like you should be expecting to use it, of course. So of course use live ammo.
Yeah, a round. It's all you need.
Right? Yeah. If you were truly confident in yourself, you would be able to use a live round, of course. Right? So either way, I'm glad all of you guys that showed up. Thanks a lot for everyone, especially you, Darkness343. Yeah, really. Yeah,
The mega simp.
You are not a mega simp. Don't you dare say that. He is a hero, and he is a true man of the channel. All right, I will never forget you. I'll be sure to write your name down too. Okay, thanks a lot, so much. Everyone that showed up, thank you so much. Spooky, thanks a lot. You guys know where to find us too. I also have all my other links and socials too. I think I have your link as well for your friend's Twitter as well. So thanks a lot to everyone that showed up, and have a nice night.
Peace out, everybody.